Dual Cultivation audiobook by Kevin Chapter. One Su Yang, two figures sat on the highest point of the eternal retribution cliff. One old man, and the other a handsome young man with otherworldly features. The old man emitted an ancient aura that caused the surrounding space to twist and turn, and the young man casually sat beside him, looking as though the heavy atmosphere did not bother him at all. Young man, what crimes have you committed to get yourself stuck in this gloomy place? You do not look like someone who belongs here, the old man asked the young man, his gaze filled with interest as he looked at the young man, who was surrounded by a noble aura that calmed the space surrounding him. The young man showed a slight smile. I have done many things, one such as devouring the forbidden fruit created by His Majesty, the Heavenly Emperor, he said in a calm voice. The old man lifted his brows in surprise, and his gaze flickered with shock as he looked at the young man. You. Unsure of what to say, the old man stuttered non-stop. To be shocked speechless, this was a first even for someone as ancient as him, not to mention his wide eyes that hadn't been this wide for countless years. I'm more surprised that you are still alive after all that than what you've done. The young man only smiled at his words. Suddenly, the old man burst out laughing. I can already imagine the raging face of the Heavenly Emperor when he first heard the news. Ahahaha. Young man, I have taken a liking to you. What is your name? The ancient aura surrounding the old man had long disappeared. He looked and acted more like a kind grandpa than anything now. The name's Su Yang, said the young man. Then Su Yang, would you like to leave this place? The old man suddenly grinned, showing his 2 rows of yellow teeth. Su Yang turned to look at the old man's face for the first time. It was filled with wrinkles, almost like a dried-up fruit. However, despite his ghost-like face, his eyes were as clear as water, and they shone brighter than the brightest stars in this eternal night sky. What's the point? Su Yang said a moment later. Even if I can leave this place, it will only trigger the Heavenly Emperor's anger even further. I think I prefer sitting here until my soul rots away than having to constantly deal with the Heavenly Emperor's wrath. What if I say that you can leave and not have to worry about the Heavenly Emperor? The old man kept the grin on his face, but deep in his gaze flickered a profound light. Then what? What should I do after leaving? Continue living the sinful life that I have been living for the past thousands of years, or take revenge on those who wrongly accused me? That is up to you. Su Yang suddenly reached his hands towards the night sky and made a grasping motion, almost as if he wished to grab a hold of the stars shining above. Then, if I one day decide to leave this place, I will. He suddenly stopped talking and smiled. Forget it. I think I'd still rather be lazy in this place until I die. The old man suddenly started laughing again. You are still too young to completely hide your desire from this ancient one, young one. Even if you stay here for all eternity, can you really die from old age, an immortal such as yourself? Hehe, your wish, I shall grant it. He suddenly stood up and waved his sleeves, and the night sky that hadn't changed since the creation of this eternal retribution cliff suddenly turned to day, bewildering every soul that dwelled there. You, who are you? Su Yang stared at the grinning old man with wide eyes. The old man said, just an old man with nothing better to do. Right before I send you away, I'd like to thank you for what you did. Thank me. What do you mean by tha? Before Su Yang could ask the old man why he was being thanked, a bright white light suddenly engulfed the world, taking away his vision. Immediately after getting blinded by the white light, Su Yang felt a sharp pain near his heart like he had just been stabbed by a sword. He snapped his eyes wide open to see a handsome young man with a vicious grin on his face, standing in front of him on a wide stage, and in his grasp was a steel sword. Gee! I narrowly missed his heart, mumbled the handsome young man. Su Yang looked down to see a sword penetrating his body, and he instantly became alert. Scram! Within Su Yang's body suddenly exploded an overwhelming aura filled with killing intent, causing the handsome young man before him and the dozens of people surrounding their stage to cough up a mouthful of blood. And because the handsome young man was standing so close to Su Yang, he directly fell unconscious after coughing up blood. The place instantly turned dead silent, and Su Yang pulled out the sword that was still stuck in his chest, ignoring the pain. After taking the sword out of his chest, Su Yang took this moment to quickly search through his memories. In his memories, he found out that he was inside the body of a young cultivator with the same name as his, Su Yang, and that he has the exact same looks as his younger self. However, the similarities stopped there and everything else was different. His cultivation base was near non-existent when compared to his old cultivation base, and he is currently a disciple in this profound blossom sect, a sect that heavily focuses on dual cultivation, where two people of the opposite gender indulge in sexual practices for cultivation. It is almost as if he had traveled back in time to when he was just a young boy who had recently started cultivating. As for how he got into this situation, the Su Yang before him had gone to court a female disciple named Xing Xing and ended up offending her current partner, Yan Ming, the now unconscious handsome young man before him, which resulted in a death match between them. What in the name of heavens is happening? Su Yang suddenly recalled how the old man in the eternal retribution cliff had said that he will help him leave the place. Did he send me back in time? No. I don't recall ever becoming a disciple of this profound blossom sect. Then, in the midst of Su Yang's thoughts, a loud shout suddenly broke the silence. Everybody halt your movements. A middle-aged man jumped onto the stage and looked at Su Yang and the unconscious Yan Ming with a frown. Who authorized the two of you to have a death match today? Scram before I call for the disciplinary squad. Yes, elder son. The disciples around the stage hurriedly scrambled away, leaving only Su Yang and Yan Ming on the stage. Su Yang decided to leave this place first and ponder later. Before he jumped off the stage, the middle-aged man called elder son looked at him and said, "What's your name?" "Su Yang," he replied in a calm tone. Elder son nodded and no longer looked at him and directly went to pick up the unconscious Yan Ming to take him away. After leaving the stage, Su Yang searched through his memories and began walking towards his living quarters. Chapter 2, suffering to find a single partner. Hey look, that's Su Yang, the idiot who decided to court senior apprentice sister Xing despite being aware of her partner. Didn't senior apprentice brother Yan have a deathmatch with him today? What happened? Look at his robes. It's covered in blood. Does this mean that the deathmatch has already been settled and that Su Yang won and Yan Ming is now dead? Impossible. He's only at the 3rd level of the elementary spirit realm whilst Yan Ming is at the 6th level of the elementary spirit realm. Such a wide gap, even I wouldn't dare to imagine winning, let alone that good-for-nothing Su Yang. Then why is he still alive? When two enters the stage for a death match, they have to fight until one dies. I have never heard of both fighters surviving after a death match. Let's go ask him. The disciples spoke to each other as they watched Su Yang walk through the sect with a bloodied hole in his white robe with a calm expression, almost as if he was unaware of the grave injury on his chest. Hey Su Yang, you bastard! How did you survive the death match against Yan Ming? A group of disciples blocked his path, halting his steps. The disciples' action quickly aroused the attention of those around them, and they became the center of attention. I do not have the time to play with kids, scram. Su Yang refused to give them another glance and walked around them, dumbfounding everybody there. Since when did the idiot become so daring and arrogant? To think he'd disregard the faces of so many disciples at once, did he finally go nuts? SUSU Su Yang, take one more step and you will pay. The one leading the group suddenly roared, startling everyone. However, despite his threatening words, Su Yang continued to walk, not even turning his head to look, completely ignoring them. "You fucking bastard!" Veins appeared on the forehead of the disciple who shouted, and he chased after Su Yang with his fists tightly clenched. In the midst of taking his second step, Su Yang suddenly snapped his head to look at him with a narrowed gaze filled with killing intent. His horrifying gaze that seemed to be sharp enough to make a hole in a large boulder froze the disciple's movements and caused him to tremble uncontrollably, almost as if he was watching a hungry beast on the verge of pouncing towards him. Plop, the disciple's leg turned to tofu and he fell to the ground. Even the disciples behind him began shaking their legs, looking like a crowd of clowns dancing in the cold. HMPH, a bunch of fools. Su Yang coldly snorted and continued walking. Was that really Su Yang, or did they mistake him as Su Yang? How could that possibly be Su Yang? Although they may look similar, that noble air that surrounded him was completely different than the useless Su Yang that I am familiar with. Right. Su Yang always has this idiotic expression on his face, but that handsome man just now had a sharp and serious face. They are two completely different people. The surrounding disciples began gossiping, some even laughing at the group that decided to stop him. Was that really not Su Yang? The disciple that had fallen to the ground thought to himself, feeling puzzled. Could there really be two people with nearly identical features in this sect? Su Yang's beastly gaze reappeared in the disciple's head, and he quickly dismissed his doubts. That was definitely not Su Yang but someone who looked like him. The idiotic Su Yang that he knows of would never dare talk back to others, let alone threaten them with that look. Upon reaching his living quarters within the outer court, Su Yang was greeted by another handsome young man in front of the door to his room. Su Yang, you actually managed to survive in a death match against Yan Ming." The young man had initially thought that he was looking at a ghost when he noticed Su Yang walking towards his place from a distance. But now that he was standing in front of him, there was no way that he could be a ghost. From the previous Su Yang's memories, Su Yang recognized this young man. He was his roommate Tang Hu. "I am not feeling so well, so I will be resting in my room. Do not bother me." Su Yang walked into the house without giving him another word. Tang Hu watched him walk past him with his mouth wide open. "Good heavens," he mumbled out loud. "He really is alive." Su Yang directly went into his room after entering the house and began organizing his thoughts. That old man. What did he do, really? He looked into the mirror hanging on the wall, and memories of his childhood appeared in his head. This is clearly my own body when I was young, but how come I do not recall ever being in this place? Did I actually reincarnate and only regained my memories after getting stabbed in the chest by a sword? To get injured like that, I am really too weak the way I am right now. Su Yang is currently 16 years old, and he has been a disciple of this profound blossom sect for nearly a year. However, despite being in the sect for nearly an entire year, his cultivation has barely progressed, let alone a breakthrough. Outer court disciples like him who have only recently joined the sect would not receive any assistance from the sect, and has to find a partner by themselves for dual cultivation, where two people of the opposite gender indulge in sexual intercourse for cultivation. Once he becomes an inner court disciple, then he may request the sect to find him a suitable partner. However, Su Yang has not been able to find a partner for himself since joining the sect despite his peak quality features. He was extremely handsome, no doubt, handsome enough to seduce the moon god's wife in his past life. Many female disciples, even the senior disciples, fought to be his partner at first, but when they found out that he had severe mental issues with zero talents, they quickly ignored him. No matter how handsome he was, in this sect where their growth depended on their partners, nobody was stupid enough to risk their future just because he was handsome, not to mention the countless other handsome young men and women in this sect. I have been gifted another life by that old man, but this kind of life, Su Yang loudly sighed. To think he, the most handsome man in the world in his past life, where countless peerless goddess and jade-like fairies would stand in line just to be his partner, would be suffering to find a single partner in this sect with thousands of young maidens. If I am still in the same world, then there is a chance that they might still be living in this world. Su Yang's gaze flickered with a profound light as many peerless figures appeared in his mind. I will find them and have them in my embrace once again, and I will not let them go this time. However, before any of that, I must first fix this tarnished reputation of mine. Chapter 3. Waste of a handsome face inside his room. Su Yang stripped and went into the bathroom that was connected to his room to clean the blood off his body. Still, that kid did a good one on me. How many years has it been since I last saw my own blood, let alone getting a hole opened in my chest? Su Yang was an immortal in his previous life, someone who was near the peak of cultivation. He had it all, beautiful women and power, something that was to be envious of. Now, however, he cannot even hold a candle against a mere mortal at the elementary spirit realm, not to mention the heavy injury. Of course, it was the previous Su Yang who had gotten into that situation, not the current Su Yang. However, Su Yang didn't use that as an excuse since he was in the same body, so he blamed it on himself. After cleaning the blood off his body, he smeared some medicine over the hole in his chest before wrapping some cloth around the injury and calling it a day. By the time Su Yang was done with treating his injury, the news of him beating Yan Ming on the stage in a death match had already spread around the outer court like wildfire. What? That good-for-nothing Su Yang who can't even use his thing down there properly defeated Yan Ming? Are you sure? I saw it with my very two eyes. After getting stabbed in the chest by Yan Ming, Su Yang suddenly roared and everybody surrounding the stage suddenly puked up a mouthful of blood, and Yan Ming himself had fallen to the ground without any conscience. A mere shout had caused everybody to puke blood. What bull! I do not believe it. I do not blame you. Even I had a hard time believing my eyes at the time. Such conversations were going on throughout the sect, and even Elder Sun, who had stopped the fight, could not help but recall the frightening pressure that suddenly enveloped the place. What happened between the two of you during the fight? Tell me everything. Elder Sun glared at Yan Ming, who he had taken in for questioning. I don't know, Yan Ming said with a huge headache. All I can remember is stabbing that Su Yang in the chest before a sudden wave of killing intent overwhelmed me. Before stabbing him, it was like fighting an idiot who didn't even know how to swing a sword properly. After that, however, Yan Ming shivered when he recalled the expression on Su Yang's face after stabbing him. It was almost as if I was looking at another person after he received my sword. Elder Sun pondered the words Yan Ming spoke. The killing intent I felt coming from that boy was not something that could be created after getting stabbed once, but something that can only be created with many near-death experiences and after killing many people. Who is that Su Yang, really? And how come I have never heard of him until today? Elder Sun looked at Yan Ming and said, "You can leave now. Do not let me catch you on the stage without permission again." This disciple would not dare. After Yan Ming left the scene, Elder Sun began looking up information of Su Yang. But after just a few minutes of research, he was dumbstruck by the information he has received. From what he had gathered, Su Yang has been in this sect for nearly an entire year, yet there has been no progression with his cultivation since he joined because he was unsuccessful in finding a partner. Elder Sun couldn't believe how such a handsome man such as Su Yang would be unable to find a partner, so he dug a little bit deeper. What he found shocked him numb, to the point where he didn't know what to feel. Mental issues, don't know how to use his thing down there properly, no talent, Are you sure about this? Elder Sun asked the person who was providing him the information, who happened to be another sect elder. You may not know about him since you rarely pay attention to the outer court, but almost everybody within the outer court knows Su Yang and his condition. The only reason he is still able to stay in this sect as a disciple is because the patriarch believes that he could still be of some use for the sect with his handsome face. Ai. If he at least had a straight mind, then he would still have a chance in this world. Elder Sun sighed at the elder's words. Indeed, it was true that Su Yang had an incredibly handsome face even with the sect's high standards, but with the way he is, what waste of a handsome face. However, Elder Sun suddenly narrowed his eyes. He looked nothing like what you just told me when I saw him today. I don't know what else to tell you, Elder Sun, that's all we know about him. The elder shrugged. I understand. Thank you for the information, Elder Mu. Right, how's your granddaughter holding up within the sect? Does she have a partner yet? Elder Mu suddenly brought up his granddaughter who had recently joined the sect. When Elder Mu mentioned his granddaughter, the seriousness on Elder Sun disappeared and he laughed. That girl is very picky. It'll be a long while before she finds somebody. Then, how about letting her meet my grandson, Mu Gong, one of these days? Elder Sun's lips twitched at Elder Mu's suggestion, but he kept his smile and said casually, one of these days. When he finally decided to leave his room, Su Yang was greeted by Tang Hu and another figure, a beautiful young lady. She was Meng Jia, Tang Hu's partner. How's your injury? Tang Hu asked him after noticing him. Just a bug bite. Bug bite, huh? Tang Hu chuckled. Being roommates for nearly a year, he was able to feel that there was something different about the current Su Yang. The most obvious part was that he longer has that idiotic expression on his face and now looked more normal. Where are you going now? Just a stroll around the place, said Su Yang, who was already at the door ready to leave. But your injury, like I said, just a bug bite. After Su Yang left the place, Meng Jia said, he looks different today. You think so too? How so? He's more handsome. Her words dumbfounded him. Meng Jia smiled at his expression and said, don't worry, no matter how handsome he gets, you will be my only partner. That's not it. Tang Hu said with a blush. All right, let's go cultivate. Meng Jia suddenly pulled Tang Hu to his room, where they would soon embrace each other with bare skin. Chapter 4 White Pearl Treasury. Within the Profound Blossom sect exists one building that has everything from valuable resources to expensive treasures. Medicines, spirit stones, weapons, all that could be obtained at the White Pearl Treasury as long as one has enough premium points. Premium points are a kind of currency that only has value within the Profound Blossom sect. With premium points, one can exchange it for anything within the White Pearl Treasury. Premium points can be obtained through the sect by doing meritorious deeds for the sect, or by doing missions. They can also be traded with others like a real currency. How much premium points for this pure yang flower? Su Yang asked the elder behind the desk. He had decided to come to the White Pearl Treasury after realizing that he is currently too weak. But without a partner to cultivate with, the only way he'd be able to cultivate would be with resources obtained from the sect. And what better way to get resources than from the White Pearl Treasury, where all types of valuable resources could be found and purchased. Pure yang flower. Why does an outer court disciple like yourself want with such a valuable medicine? The old man looked at him with an intrigued expression. 10,000. 10,000. Yuan lifted his eyebrows with surprise. The most premium points someone can obtain in a mission should be 100, and those are the highest difficulties, yet you want 10,000 premium points for a mere pure yang flower. This is robbery in plain daylight. In his eyes, the pure yang flower is only a low-quality medicine used by mortals, yet they treat it as though it is some sort of godly medicine. The patriarch himself priced it. If you have any complaints, then you can go to him. Otherwise, the price is final. Su Yang glanced at the jade slip in his grasp and sighed. 34 premium points after spending 1 year in this place. He looked around, and many beauties came into his view. I could just get a partner, but no matter how I look at it, they are all just brats that are still wet behind their ears. While Su Yang is currently inside the body of a 16-year-old young man, his mental age is anything but young. He just couldn't get himself to stick his rod into kids that are not even half his actual age. And while one's age does not matter when it comes to cultivators that can live thousands of years and remain looking young, it just didn't feel right to Su Yang. "So, do you want it or not?" the elder behind the desk said in an impatient tone, despite already knowing the answer. He could guess that Su Yang did not have enough premium points just by his status as a mere outer court disciple. Forget about an outer court disciple such as him. Even an inner court disciple would have a hard time obtaining 10,000 premium points. "I want it," Su Yang's answer dumbfounded the elder. "But not right now. In 10 days, I will return with enough premium points to exchange for it." How will you manage that?" the elder asked with his eyes wide open. Su Yang only smiled at the elder's question and walked away without answering, which caused a few veins to appear on the elder's forehead. After leaving the white pearl treasury, Su Yang went to find a large piece of cloth and something to write on it. After that, he went to the training center, where it is populated with disciples all day and night, before standing there in the open with the piece of cloth, now a sign, spread for the whole world to see. Heavenly Massage, experience what it feels like to be in heaven. First 3 customers free of charge. Heavenly Massage, isn't that Su Yang? What foolishness is he up to today? Experience heaven, ha ha ha, he just wants to touch girls. Damn, this bastard is getting really desperate. The disciples there laughed without reserve. Su Yang stood there silently with a calm expression on his face as the place filled with laughter. This reminds me of my younger days. He reminisced the past when he used to stand in the streets all day and night with the exact same sign. After standing there for many hours straight without anybody approaching him, some disciples finally decided to speak with him for fun. "Hey, Su Yang, what in the devil's name are you doing right now? We all know you just want to feel up some girls since you cannot find a partner. To think you'd come up with such a wicked plan, how shameless." However, despite the disciples disdaining, Su Yang continued to stand there with his eyes closed, seemingly asleep. "Hey, listen when I am talking to you, you shameless bastard." Just as the disciple raised his fist, Su Yang opened his eyes and within his gaze flashed a dangerous light. "Stand aside, brat. I have a customer," Su Yang said, dumbfounding the disciples. When the disciples turned around, a beautiful young lady stood there with her arms crossed, her gaze seemingly filled with suspicion. "What kind of massage?" she asked in an aggressive tone. "The kind that will make your back pain disappear." Su Yang's unexpected words caused the young lady to widen her eyes. How did you know that I have back pain?" Su Yang did not reply to her and only looked at his sign and smiled. Chapter 5, pleading for more. "Are you saying that you can heal my back pain with this massage of yours?" Su Yang calmly nodded at her question. "Don't listen to him. He is only trying to take advantage of you." "Yeah. Who knows what he'll do to you once to follow him? Do you have any idea who he is?" The young lady looked at the group of disciples and frowned. "And who are you?" "We are." Before the disciples can even introduce themselves, Su Yang spoke. "I can heal you, but only if you follow my conditions." "Conditions? Are you in the position to ask for conditions? I know that you have been standing here for many hours without a single customer. If I leave now, then who knows when your next customer may come. If it ever happens." After a moment of silence, Su Yang nodded and said calmly, "Then, for having enough courage to stand before me, I shall part you with a gift. Your back pain, don't underestimate it and go find a doctor to treat it quickly before you turn into a cripple." "A cripple? WW, what do you mean by that?" The young lady began panicking after hearing his words, but that was not what Su Yang had intended. If you think that your back pain was caused by bad positioning during your cultivation, then you can't be more wrong. Then what was the cause? The young lady began sweating profusely after Su Yang became silent for more than a few seconds. I will do it. I will accept your conditions. The young lady gave up after a few more seconds of silence. Su Yang nodded and said, Condition 1, the session will only last for 10 minutes, no more, no less. Condition 2, you must share your experience after the massage with 10 people. Condition 3, you are only allowed to come back 1 month after your last massage session. If you refuse to any of these conditions, then you may turn around and walk away. If you fail to fulfill the second and third condition after the massage, then you can forget about coming back ever again. That's it. The young lady thought Su Yang had something far more serious in mind, but such easy conditions, who wouldn't accept? PFT, 1 month, it'd be a miracle if you have another customer after her today, the disciples laughed. Do you accept? I accept. Good, then follow me. Su Yang rolled up his sign and carried it on his back as he began leading the young lady back to his living quarters. Ah, she's really going to follow him. Should we stop her? Let her be. She can only blame herself later for trusting someone like Su Yang. The disciples watched as Su Yang and the young girl disappear into the distance. None of the dozens of people there tried to stop her because they are all intrigued in what will happen when she returns. This is your living quarters. We are doing it here. Then would you rather do it outside? Su Yang asked her with a slight smile. The young lady looked around with her imaginations running wild, causing her to blush. Su Yang didn't wait for her to answer and walked into the house. Ah, wait up. After entering the dead silent house, Su Yang went straight into his room and the young lady followed with caution. I swear to the heavens that if you do anything funny to me, you will pay for it with your life. You are too young to be my taste, little girl. Little girl, you look just about as old as me. Su Yang shrugged at her reply. Lay down on the bed with your back facing the ceiling. The young lady stood there silently, her gaze staring at him with intensively. You can keep your clothes on. After hearing his words, the young lady sighed in relief and laid herself on the bed. Su Yang cracked his knuckles and stretched around for a few moments before he said, Your 10 minutes begins now. Try not to lose consciousness. What do you mean by? Ah, the young lady suddenly let out an unexpected moan of pleasure that caused Su Yang's ears to tingle with delight. What did you just do? Tilda. Stop wiggling around like a worm. You're making this more difficult for me. Ah! The sense of pleasure on her back overwhelmed the young lady's sense of hearing, making her feel as though she was in another world in heaven. She couldn't understand what she was feeling, but it was not a sense of feeling that could be made with the hands of a human, almost as though she was feeling the hands of a god. Time passed by quickly, but within the young lady's world, it felt almost like an eternity. And suddenly, the sense of pleasure ended. It was too sudden, almost feeling like it was the end of the world. Why did you stop? The young lady turned to look at Su Yang, and on her red face was a sensual expression, one that begged for more. Your 10 minutes is over, Su Yang said in a calm tone. But the pain in your back should have subdued by now, but reduce the time you spend to cultivator by half for the next month for it to be permanent. Please, 10, no, just 5 more minutes. I will pay you any amount. The young lady pleaded Su Yang to extend the service, but Su Yang only shook his head. I cannot accept anything from you, as I have already stated that my first 3 customers will be free of charge. You can come back next month after you spread your experience here to 10 people. The young lady bit her lips in frustration, reluctantly nodding a few seconds later. I look forward to your next visit, Zhou Xuan. The young lady said, My name is Zhou Xuan. I am called Su Yang. He smiled at her as he watched her exit the front door, her legs looking unstable as she walked, like a drunk walking home after spending a whole night drinking Chapter 6 3-season snake. It felt otherworldly, almost as though I was floating in the starry sky beside a river of stars. The way his hands touched my back, It was like his hands had melted and submerged itself into my back, reaching the deepest parts. It was a feeling to die for. I hate to admit it, but he made my body submit with his very hands. Zhou Xuan spread her experience with Su Yang like a wildfire to all her friends like a kid who had just bought a new toy. In addition, she did not stop at just 10 people and spoke to all of her friends, hoping that her efforts would allow Su Yang to see her in a favorable light. Really? Could that Su Yang really have such talents? How is that possible? He's infamous for being useless and retarded. Even many sect elders have given up on him. I am serious. Go to him for his service, and you'll instantly know whether my words are true or not. Despite not fully convincing everybody with her story about her experience with Su Yang's massage service, Zhou Xuan was able to arouse the curiosity and interest in their hearts, enough to make them want to pay more attention to Su Yang, exactly what he wanted. A mere seconds after Zhou Xuan left Su Yang's house, Tang Hu and his partner Meng Jia emerged from their own room, their face red and heart racing from cultivation. Su Yang, you're back. Tang Hu looked at him, who was standing by the door and looking outside with a slight smile. Su Yang turned to look at them and his smile widened. Congratulations on your breakthrough, he chuckled. His words startled the duo and the redness on their faces deepened. Su Yang. Tang Hu scratched his head, looking like there was something on his mind. There is nothing to be embarrassed about. You are a man and your woman is right beside you. Hold your head high with pride. Su Yang walked out of the living quarters after his sentence. The duo inside the house could only stare at his disappearing with a dazed face, their mind boggled by Su Yang's change in behavior. As I thought, he looks way more handsome than all the other times I have seen him before, Meng Jia said in her daze. Tang Hu recalled the Su Yang who couldn't even finish a sentence without stuttering inside his head. How could someone change so much in so little time? Did that injury startle his soul awake from some sort of slumber? After leaving, Su Yang went back to the training grounds and opened up his sign again. He intended to accept more than just one customer a day. That Su Yang is back already. He hasn't even been gone for an hour yet. Perhaps that girl had decided to change her mind after all. What happened an hour ago repeated itself. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with Su Yang, so they only watched him from afar with suspicious gazes, like pedestrians watching a sketchy street performer. However, this time around, Su Yang didn't have to wait as long before someone approached him, a little girl who was limping. Are you the one who helped senior apprentice sister Zhou relieve her back pain? Su Yang nodded in acknowledgement. Senior apprentice sister Zhou said that your skills are real and seem to trust you, so, The little girl who seemed a few years younger than Zhou Xuan fidgeted around as she tried to speak her mind. You want to know if I can help you with your left leg, correct? The little girl nodded vigorously. During the day, your left leg would be numb. At night, it would spasm constantly. How long since it started? 1 week ago. The little girl was amazed at how Su Yang saw through her issues with a mere glance. She felt as though there was nothing she could hide from his overwhelming gaze, like she was naked to the bones when standing before him. See, can you heal me? Her eyes sparkled with hope when looking at him. The sect elders have tried, but none of them had the ability to help me. After a moment of silence, Su Yang started rolling up the sign. The 3 conditions, are you aware of them? Yes. Do you accept? Yes. Then, follow me. The disciples there watched with wide mouths as Su Yang led the little girl away from the place. That creepy bastard Su Yang is going to take advantage of a girl as little as her. Shouldn't somebody stop them? It will be a good learning experience for her. Maybe she will think twice before trusting someone like Su Yang the next time she needs help. Just because we are fellow disciples does not mean we have to help each other. In this world where the strong devour the weak, being naive and inexperienced is not an excuse but a weakness. If one cannot overcome that weakness, they will only be devoured by the strong. The disciples there did not like the sight of a small girl getting taken advantage of, but none of them have any real reason to stop them either. In this sect, disciples are more like rivals to each other than friends. The fewer disciples there is to compete for the sect's resources, the better it would be for everybody else. So without any real benefits, nobody there was willing to risk themselves for a stranger. Su Yang directly led the little girl into his room after returning home. Fortunately, neither Tang Hu or Meng Jia were there to witness him bring home a little girl who looked no older than 13, or else there would have been a chaotic scene the moment he entered the front doors. The little girl did not stop fidgeting once since she approached Su Yang. No matter how much positive Zhou Xuan had spoken of him to her, she was still not entirely comfortable to be here. Approaching a handsome young man such as Su Yang and entering his room where they'll be alone would be too much for anyone else, let alone a young girl like her who has only recently joined the sect. "Your stockings, take them off," Su Yang said after closing the door, leaving them alone inside this soundproof room. "You were bitten by a colorful snake with red, yellow, and green scales around a month ago, right?" "Eh? How did?" "That snake is called a three-season snake, and it lodges a deadly poison within its body that will slowly kill whatever it bites. Unlike other poison that takes at most minutes, even seconds to spread throughout the body, the three-season snake's poison will take weeks before one would see any symptoms. Within the first month, the victims would lose the ability to use their legs, then the rest of their limbs within the second month. By the third month, the poison would have spread throughout their entire body, giving them a slow and painful death that could last up to 7 days. Su Yang's explanation caused the little girl to tremble in horror, her robes soaked in cold sweat. Such a terrifying poison would frighten even the coldest killers, let alone a small girl like her. "Luckily, it has only been a month since you were bitten, so you are not in danger." "Are really? Really?" Su Yang wiped the tears from her eyes and said in a confident tone, "If I was only a mere messenger, then I wouldn't be able to help you, but lucky for you, my hands can do more than just making others feel good." The little girl pulled off her white stockings, revealing her smooth and pale legs. "You are?" Su Yang suddenly asked. "Qi Yue, 12 years old." 12. "And you are in this kind of sect? You mortals are really something else." Su Yang sighed despite already knowing that fact. He has not visited the mortal world for thousands of years in his past life, so he was unaware of their lifestyle. But looking and living in the mortal world now, he could not help but question the morality of those a part of this mortal world. "Although I have been accepted into the sect, I am not allowed to participate in dual cultivation until I become an adult at the age of 16. Qi Yue explained in a bashful tone after seeing the disappointment on Su Yang's face. "That makes more sense," Su Yang said in a relieving tone. "All right, lay down on your stomach. I'll loosen up the muscles around your legs before I deal with the poison." Qi Yue obediently laid on the bed and silently waited as Su Yang prepared himself. Then, "Your 10 minutes starts now." His hands quickly grabbed her legs, causing a cute voice to escape her lips. Soon, the muscle in Qi Yue's legs loosened up, and the numbness began disappearing at a very noticeable rate. Chapter 7. Extracting the poison. It took only 3 minutes for the muscle in Qi Yue's left leg to completely loosen up. Like tofu, the sensation of her skin was smooth and soft in Su Yang's hands. "I will now begin to extract the poison." Su Yang showed her a needle as small as a strand of hair in his hands. The pleasant expression on Qi Yue's dazed face instantly froze at the sight of the needle. What are you going to sew with tea, that?" she asked with a horrified expression. Su Yang pointed at her left leg with a smile on his face. However, that handsome smile was more like the devil's grin in Qi Yue's eyes. Wait, is that really the only way? How else am I going to extract the poison?" He replied to her question with another question. "Close your eyes, you won't even feel it." Qi Yue hastily closed her eyes, but her body wouldn't stop trembling. Suddenly, a hand patted her head, giving her a sense of security and warmth, and her body stopped trembling. It was at this moment the needle between Su Yang's fingers flickered. A tiny hole that could not be seen with just the bare eyes opened up in Qi Yue's left thigh, and some sort of white smoke began escaping through that hole, creating a small cloud of mist above her legs. The moment the mist appeared, Su Yang moved his lips towards the hole on her thighs without hesitation and began sucking. Ah! Wah! The unexpected sucking sensation on her thighs caused Qi Yue to snap open her eyes. When she saw Su Yang's lips on her thigh, her face exploded with redness, nearly losing conscience from shock. However, despite his shameless and seemingly vulgar actions, Qi Yue did not kick him away and allowed him to continue. Her breathing quickened and her eyes flickered with desire. Lust. Meanwhile, Su Yang was fully focused on extracting the poison through the tiny hole in her thigh. His robes were soaked in sweat, and his body burned from the poison he absorbed. Every part of his body was screaming in pain, and because of his low cultivation base, it only made it harder for him to subdue the poison within his body. Even if he wished, he simply wasn't in a position to enjoy the soft sensation on his lips. At this moment, the only thing that could be heard in this small and quiet room was Qi Yue's heavy breathing and low moans. A few minutes felt like a few hours for the two, one embraced by pleasure and one enduring pain. When only a few seconds of the 10 minutes were left, Su Yang finally released his lips. Su Yang coughed up a mouthful of black blood the moment his lips separated from Qi Yue's soft skin, his complexion turning ashen right after. Su Yang wiped the black blood from the corner of his lips and smiled. "It's been a long time since I last sweated like this during a treatment." Su Yang collapsed on the bed beside Qi Yue right after his sentence, his conscience barely awake. Are you okay?" Qi Yue cried out loud in alarm. "Luckily, the poison had yet to spread to other areas and only occupied your left leg, so I was able to extract it without any problem. But being only at the 3rd level of elementary spirit realm, the process had drained my very limited profound qi quickly. I am only tired from exhausting my profound qi. Let me sleep for a bit and I will be fine. Don't forget the conditions." Su Yang fell asleep after those words, dumbfounding Qi Yue. She didn't know what to do, but since he said that he would be fine, she felt relieved. After taking a moment to organize herself, Qi Yue helped Su Yang by adjusting his awkward sleeping position and covered him with a blanket before quietly leaving. It was already the next morning by the time Su Yang woke up. He sat up and looked at the blanket covering him. How caring of her, he smiled. Although he had expected that it would be somewhat troublesome to heal Qi Yue, he did not expect that it would have been that challenging with his low cultivation base. "I really need to increase my cultivation base, but before I obtain that pure spirit yang and cleanse the impurities within my body, I need to get used to this body and its insignificant cultivation base." Su Yang left the bed to take a quick shower. Afterward, he sat back on his bed in the lotus position. Deep within his mind, countless cultivation techniques he had learned from his previous life appeared one by one. Su Yang wasn't just a playboy in his previous life. He was also a cultivator and a doctor, so he has many resources at his disposal. Celestial Body Refining Scripture, one of the 7 heavenly sublime scripture obtained from the Heavenly Emperor's treasury. In his previous life, Su Yang wasn't able to cultivate this celestial body refining scripture because he had obtained it too late and had already refined his body. "Not only did I steal his daughter's body and heart, but I also obtained his favorite cultivation technique. If the Heavenly Emperor is still alive, I should avoid him at all cost." He closed his eyes, and he began reciting the celestial body refining scripture within his head. Consume the universe, refine the body, achieve an immortal physique, the celestial body. The celestial body refining scripture was a technique that cultivated one's body, their physique, and one's cultivation. In order to achieve the celestial body, he must consume things with profound chi and refine it as his own, tempering his cultivation base and body simultaneously. There were two primary paths of training to become an immortal. The first was in chi refining, refining profound chi. The majority of those who trained to become an immortal chose this path. This path allowed one to use many powerful techniques, control gravity, soar in the sky, and even change the weather. In other words, it was a profound and glamorous path. The other path was in body refining, refining one's physical body. It is said that body refining is at least a few dozen times more difficult than chi refining, where one has to endure unimaginable pain and torture their own body until it breaks for little result. However, enduring such a torture would allow them to move mountains with bare hands, change terrains, even poke holes in stars with mere fingers. Ordinarily, one would choose either chi refining or body refining, never both due to the unimaginable amount of time it would consume to train in both. The celestial body refining scripture, however, allowed one to cultivate in both chi refining and body refining sententiously, a heaven-defying technique. Suddenly, Su Yang's body began turning red, looking as though he was being roasted in a fire. His body temperature reached nearly 150 Celsius within minutes, and a burning smell began emitting from underneath him. He was burning the bed with his body temperature alone. Su Yang was using the three-seasoned snake's poison he had contained within his body to temper his body, something he had decided to do after seeing Qi Yue. Even if he does not have a partner for dual cultivations, there are many other ways to cultivate. While it is not as pleasurable as dual cultivation where he can enjoy the embrace of another, this method of cultivation is still exercised upon by the majority of the world and is even more beneficial than dual cultivation in most scenarios. After half an hour, a refreshing feeling suddenly exploded inside Su Yang's body, cooling his burning body. He had a breakthrough, reaching the fourth level of elementary spirit realm in cultivation, and the early stage of elementary spirit body refiner simultaneously. Chapter 8. This is why you are still single. Immediately after washing himself, Su Yang traveled back to the training grounds where many disciples had started their training long ago. That Su Yang is back. He's really persistent with this scheme of his. What happened with those two who dared to follow him? Have they reported him yet? Haven't you heard? Not only were those two extremely satisfied, but they are also helping him by spreading high praises of his services. What? For them to act like loyal dogs trying to impress their master, what on earth did Su Yang do to them? Who knows, but when I saw Zhou Xuan last night, her face was full of smiles. She looked as though she was recently reborn. Hey, look over there. This disciple greets Elder Lan. The disciples greeted the beautiful woman approaching them from a distance, and walking beside her was a cute little girl with smooth skin that made her face much brighter. Senior apprentice brother Su. It was Qi Yue, and she approached him with a bright smile on her face. With the way you are running, I can assume that your legs have already healed, right? Qi Yue nodded. Yes. Thanks to senior apprentice brother Su and his wonderful treatment, the pain did not appear last night, and I was able to sleep peacefully for the first time in a long time. That's good to hear. Su Yang showed her a gentle smile filled with care, causing Qi Yue to blush. Heh. The image of Su Yang sucking her thighs yesterday abruptly appeared in Qi Yue's mind. Even the sensation of his lips could be recalled very clearly, almost like it was engraved deeply within her heart. You are the one who treated her yesterday. The beautiful woman who looked to be in her 20s asked the moment she arrived in front of them. Yes. The beautiful woman, who was addressed as Elder Lan by the disciples, frowned at his calm demeanor. Su Yang, 16 years old. You have been in the sect for nearly an entire year as an outer court disciple, yet you still have no partner. Not to mention all the rumors about you being a retard and a good-for-nothing. How did you do it? This brat wouldn't tell me how you treated her no matter how much I asked. Su Yang glanced at Qi Yue, who became flustered after hearing Elder Lan's question, and smiled. I apologize in advance, but that is privacy between my customer and me. I am not allowed to share such information with strangers. What did you just say? Elder Lan's facial expression darkened. Do I need to remind you who you are speaking to? I am Elder Lan, the head elder of the health department for the outer court. All the injured or sick disciples within the outer court are under my administration, meaning that she is also under my care. And Su Yang's calm demeanor remained the same despite her threatening gaze that seemed to want to swallow him whole, and he continued, "What does that have anything to do with me? Why, you, an arrogant brat who doesn't know how to respect his seniors. Sister Lan, stop." Qi Yue's startled cry halted Elder Lan's movement, who was seconds away from slapping Su Yang in the face without restraint. Elder Lan suppressed the anger in her stomach and took a deep breath. "Qi Yue, are you sure that a stinking brat like him had healed your leg when even a seasoned doctor such as myself couldn't tell what was wrong with you?" Su Yang chucked when Elder Lan addressed herself as a seasoned doctor, which caused her glare at him. She had a feeling that he was laughing at her. "Sister Lan, we didn't come here today to offend senior apprentice brother Su. We came here for his help," Qi Yue said to her in a worried tone, sounding like an elder sister. Elder Lan snorted coldly. "What can a brat who isn't even half my age like him do? There is nothing an arrogant brat like him can do to help me." "You are absolutely right. There is nothing I can do to help you relieve the sharp pain in your buttocks when sitting down. Go find someone else who is more experienced, someone at least twice your age." Elder Lan's eyebrows twitched uncontrollably at Su Yang's sarcastic words. "See, senior apprentice brother Su is the real deal. He was able to tell that you are hurt with a single glance. You have to allow him to help you." Qi Yue's innocent words were like sharp swords stabbing Elder Lan's heart. Although she didn't want to admit it, Su Yang's insight definitely surprised her in more than one way. "Even if she believes in you, I will never trust you. Let's go, Qi Yue." Elder Lan turned around and dragged Qi Yue away with her. The disciples there wondered what their relationship was. They looked like sisters, but everybody there was well aware that Elder Lan has no siblings. "Sister Lan, you have been in great pain for the past few days because of your injury, even missing out on your daily cultivation. If this goes on, don't worry about me, Qi Yue. I will find a way to treat myself without the help of that Su Yang. He is only an outer court disciple whilst I am a sect elder after all. I will lose all face if I lower myself and ask him for help." Qi Yue sighed at her stubbornness. She has known Elder Lan since she was a baby because their families had connections with each other. Although they are not real sisters, they treat each other as though they are siblings. "Sister Lan, this is why you are still single. You are too prideful, and you are already 40 years old. At this rate, you will die as a single woman." Qi Yue's words nearly caused Elder Lan to cough up a mouthful of blood. "You little brat, you are still too young to have a partner, let alone talk about mine. I'll have you address me as Elder Lan for the rest of the week." But, no buts, I am Elder Lan to you for the rest of the week." Qi Yue sighed. She turned her head to look at Su Yang, who was still standing there quietly and calmly. "Senior apprentice brother Su." Her face reddened at the sight of his face. Chapter 9. Wetting the bed, Su Yang stood inside the training ground until the sun had set without receiving a single customer. Yet he refused to leave and continued to stand there like a stone statue. The disciples there were surprised to see such a patient character, and those who weren't aware of his identity were charmed by his noble presence. It felt as though they were being protected by a guardian spirit. Time passed quickly, and soon the night sky appeared. Yet there still hasn't been a single customer that approached him. However, despite getting 0 customers after an entire day, Su Yang didn't panic, nor was he worried. Instead, he kept his confidence and remained his calm face from morning to night. Such patience caused many to secretly admire him, wishing that they could have the same thing when it came to training themselves. After some time, Su Yang finally moved. He tilted his head and looked at the night sky, but all he saw inside his head was an image of Elder Land's round buttocks. 2. No, 1 day at most, huh? Su Yang mumbled. He then began rolling up the sign and prepared to go back home for the day. After sending Qi Yue back to her living quarters, Elder Land directly went back to her own. Inside, she laid on her bed with her back facing the ceiling. Since she cannot sit because of the abnormal pain in her buttocks, her cultivation came to a halt since a few days ago. This really sucks, she sighed underneath her pillow. The pain had started last week without any notice and has been increasing at a fast rate since then. Unable to sit without crying, she could only stand or lay on the bed. At this rate, I wouldn't be able to walk without bearing any pain. I need to get this treated as soon as possible. Suddenly, the image of Su Yang and his handsome face appeared in her head, and that made her feel irritated. Why did that rude brat come into mind? She wanted to ignore him, but the fact that Qi Yue's leg had been treated by him wouldn't change no matter what. How did he do it? I wasn't even able to see the problem with my 10 years of experience, yet he healed her in a single night and seemingly flawlessly too. Ah, that little brat Qi Yue. Why won't she tell me anything? Am I not trustworthy in her eyes? The more she thought about the situation between Su Yang and Qi Yue, the angrier she got. Suddenly, in the midst of her thoughts, an excruciating sharp pain that caused her to cry out loud attacked her buttocks. The pain was akin to having a sharp sword stab her in the rear over and over again, nearly causing her to lose consciousness. In her 40 years of life, she has never experienced anything near as painful as currently. Furthermore, the pain did not cease and only continued to grow stronger, and within minutes she lost consciousness, her body soaked in sweat. When she woke up, it was already morning and her robes were still wet. The bed sheets were also soaking wet, but it wasn't her sweating that had soaked them but something else entirely different. The thought of her wetting the bed as a 40-year-old grown woman caused her head to explode in redness. Luckily, she lived alone by herself. If someone had seen her wet the bed at her age, then she would surely lose all faith and her desire to live. It was at this point after she had wet the bed that she realized the help she needed. If this continued, then who knows what might happen tomorrow, let alone a week from now. Just thinking about it caused her to tremble violently. But where do I get help? Who can help me? Elder Land pondered, but to no avail. She could be considered one of the best doctors within the sect, yet she couldn't even heal herself. Suddenly, an image of Qi Yue smiling appeared in her head, and standing casually beside her was a handsome young man with a calm expression, one that made others feel confident when in his presence. Su Yang. Elder Land quickly cleaned herself before rushing towards the training ground. When she arrived, however, neither Su Yang or his poorly made sign was anywhere to be seen. She then went to Qi Yue's living quarters. Qi Yu, wake up! Elder Land directly opened the door to Qi Yue's living quarters with a spare key that had been given to her by Qi Yue for emergencies. Sister Lan. Qi Yue rubbed her eyes tiredly, puzzled as to why Elder Lan would be there. Su Yang, where does he live? I need to see him right this moment. Senior apprentice brother Su. Qi Yue has never seen her sister Lan so panicked before, so she also began panicking. What did senior apprentice brother Su do? Is he in trouble? No, I need to see whether or not he can treat my injury. Elder Lan forcefully squeezed the reason she needed to see him out of her mouth through her embarrassment. Qi Yue looked at her dumbfoundedly for a moment, and her eyes suddenly began sparkling. Sister Lan requires senior apprentice brother Su's treatment, right? I'll bring you to his living quarters right away, Chi Yue said in a happy-sounding voice as she jumped off the bed. Elder Lan nodded, yet there was still a shred of doubt in her heart. Could a mere outer court disciple like Su Yang really treat her injury? She was still hesitant, but the urgency in her heart overwhelmed her uncertainty. She wouldn't be able to endure pain she felt last night or waking up to herself wetting the bed for a second time. After all, Chapter 10, Beauty waiting by the door. Elder Lan banged on the doors to Su Yang's living quarters, but the person who came out to greet them a moment later was Tang Hu, Su Yang's roommate. Elder Lan. He looked more terrified than surprised to see a sect elder banging at his door. Did he do something that had managed to offend this elder? This disciple greets. Bring disciple Su Yang out here, Elder Lan interrupted. Su Yang, he left some time ago. What? Where did he go? Elder Lan frowned. Don't tell me he went to the training ground while I went to get Chi Yue, she thought. He didn't tell me where he'd go. Sis, Elder Lan, perhaps senior apprentice brother Su went to the training ground like usual. You tell Su Yang, when he comes back, that I am looking for him with urgent matters that cannot be delayed. Elder Lan then stormed off to the training grounds again, leaving Tang Hu dumbfounded and wondering what on earth Su Yang did to offend a respected sect elder such as Elder Lan. Elder Lan and Chi Yue went straight to the training grounds in hopes to see a handsome young man standing beside his poor-looking sign, but alas, he was nowhere to be seen. This disciple greets Elder Lan. Have any of you seen a disciple named Su Yang, the one who usually stands there like an idiot? Elder Lan asked the disciples training there, but all of them shook their heads. Where is that kid? Chi Yue, go ask around and see if anyone has seen Su Yang. If you cannot find him within the hour, come back here and meet with me. If you find him, then bring him here. If I do not come back after an hour, then I should have already found him. Okay. Elder Lan then looked at the disciples there and said, if any of you see disciple Su Yang, tell him that Elder Lan is looking for him. If you can find him for me, then I will award you with 100 premium points. 100 premium points. That's as much as a high-risk mission would award. The disciples there became excited from the mission given to them by Elder Lan. Someone as handsome as Su Yang must be an easy sighting, right? And the fact that almost all outer court disciple knows his face only makes this mission easier. The disciples scrambled out of the training grounds as though there was an ongoing fire. And for the first time since the sect's opening, the training ground looked deserted. Somewhere in the outer court, Su Yang was casually flipping through pages for a book. Sitting beside him are books and scrolls that piled all the way above his head. He was in the library, where hundreds of records and even cultivation techniques were gathered. This library, the Profound Library, is a place that rents out its resources to its disciples and elders alike. Whether it'd be an ancient record about myths and legends or a scroll containing a profound cultivation technique, they have it all. Su Yang was trying to learn more about this world that he was mysteriously thrown into. However, in this mortal world, there was little to no information on the places he knew. The moon god's palace, the heavenly temple, even the land of gods that everybody and their mother in his previous life knew are unknown in this world or remain as mere legends and myths. Am I really in the same world, or was I reincarnated into a foreign world, one that I have no knowledge of? Su Yang placed the book down and sighed, his gaze filled with doubt. But there are also many things here that I am familiar with, such as the pure yang flower. Even the cultivation stages here are the same. In his previous life, Su Yang traveled not just his own world, but all 4 worlds that shared the same universe. If he was thrown into any of these 4 worlds, he should know right away, yet he doesn't have the slightest clue as to where he is currently. This is clearly the mortal world, but what is this eastern continent? How long has it been since I left the eternal retribution cliff? Countless questions that have no answers appeared in his mind. After glancing through a few more scrolls, Su Yang came to a conclusion. If he does not leave this sect and learn more about this world, then he will surely never see those he loves again. However, it was still early for him to leave, mainly because he is currently too weak. With his cultivation base, he can forget about surviving the wilderness, let alone find his lovers that are scattered across the starry sky. At his current stage, any expert within the cultivation world could easily crush him with a single finger, so he could only stay holed up in this sect until he has a sufficient cultivation base that would allow him to travel without too much danger. Su Yang took a deep breath, and he looked at the beauties that walked in and out of the library. The moment I obtain the pure Yang flower, that is when I will truly begin cultivating. His gaze flickered with a profound light. Su Yang stayed in the corner of the library until the sunset arrived, and he finally decided to leave. After tidying up the place, Su Yang left the library and went back to his living quarters, where a mature woman stood in front of his door with an irritated expression on her face. The moment the mature woman saw Su Yang, her eyes widened. Su Yang, where have you been all day? Do you have any idea how long I have been waiting here for you? A mere disciple like you dare to make a sect elder like me wait all day in front of your door. Do you have any idea how much face I have lost today because of you? Su Yang smiled at the sight of Elder Lan fuming with anger, something he found somewhat cute and charming. Greetings, Elder Lan. What business does a respectful sect elder such as yourself have with me, a mere outer court disciple? He greeted her with a bow. HMPH, talking outside would be inappropriate. Let us talk inside. Very well, Su Yang approached the door calmly, keeping a smile on his face. Chapter 11. Stick your butt towards my way. I will get straight to the point. Disciple Su Yang, do you have the capabilities to treat my injury? Inside his room, Su Yang sat on his bed while Elder Lan stood in front of him with her gaze staring daggers at him. Injury? You are not injured. Elder Lan's expression froze at his words. What did he mean by that? She's clearly injured and he's well aware of it. What do you mean by that? She asked. The pain in your rear is not an injury but an illness, a condition of sorts, Su Yang said in a nonchalant tone. What did you say? An illness? How is that possible? I have never been sick once in my entire life, yet you are telling me that I have an illness. Elder Lan, your existence in this sect is a rare one. I almost didn't believe it when I first saw you. What do you mean by that? Elder Lan frowned. Su Yang stood up from the bed and approached her. Elder Lan didn't move and stared at him with a serious expression, wondering what he was up to. Suddenly, Su Yang brought his face closer to hers, and he took a deep breath through his nose, almost like a dog sniffing a scent. What do you think you are doing? Elder Lan took a few hasty steps back, her face reddening from his unexpected actions. Are you looking to die? As I thought, you are still pure with your chastity intact, a pure maiden, Su Yang smiled. How did you? His words caused Elder Lan to tremble and her eyes widened from shock. How could he possibly know that she is still a virgin? Did Chi Yue run her mouth to him? It would be hard enough to find someone within this sect to have a pure body at my age, let alone a sect elder such as yourself, Elder Lan. Su Yang sat back down on the bed, his gaze sharpened. You have cultivated a technique meant for dual cultivators, yet you remain as a pure maiden to this day. You are simply courting death. Elder Lan also became serious after hearing his words. Tell me more, she said. Dual cultivation is when a man and woman indulge in sexual intercourse by using the yin within the woman and the yang within the man to cultivate this. I'm sure you are familiar with. Yet you cultivate normally using a technique meant for dual cultivation. Of course, there will obviously be side effects. The yin within your body is currently unstable. If you continue going down this route, then you will only experience even greater pain, eventually falling apart and dying an early death. The more Elder Lan listened to Su Yang's explanation, the deeper her frown got. Could her cultivation method really be the reason that she's in so much pain? And you are supposed to be a sect elder who guides her disciples. How laughable. Su Yang snorted coldly. You. Anger flashed across Elder Lan's eyes, but she didn't say anything she couldn't. If what he said was true, then she can only blame herself for being too prideful. If what you are saying is true, then what are you suggesting? That I should hurry up and go spread my legs for a man? Su Yang stared at the quivering light in her eyes for a moment. He then shook his head and said, "While that would be the most efficient and quickest way to balance your yin, I have another method that does not require you to spread anything. However, I am only willing to do it if you accept 3 conditions." Elder Lan turned silent, her gaze still with hesitation. "What are these conditions?" she asked. Su Yang lifted his fingers one by one and said, 1. You will be here once a week for the next 3 months for treatment. 2. You will not speak of whatever happens in this room to anyone, not even your seniors. And lastly, you are to be my sponsor for this service and advertise for me. What? You want me to advertise for you, an outer court disciple? You must be out of your mind. I am a sect elder. I am still too young to throw my face around like candy. I refuse. Elder Lan crossed her arms, looking adamant on her decision. Is that so? Then good luck to you, Elder Lan. I have already given you the answer you seek for treatment. If there is nothing else you need, please leave. And don't forget to close the door after yourself. Su Yang laid on the bed and closed his eyes as though he wanted to take a nap. Elder Lan could only stand there with a bewildered expression, her body trembling from anger. Not once since she became a sect elder 10 years ago had she experienced such disregard and disgrace from anyone, let alone a mere outer court disciple. Not once, until she met Su Yang. Su Yang. How dare you talk to a sect elder with such a disrespectful tone? I have tolerated your attitude for far too long. I will have you expelled from this sect by tomorrow. However, despite her loud voice filled with anger, despite being threatened with expulsion from the sect, Su Yang remained unmoving on his bed with a comfortable expression on his face, almost as if none of her words had entered his ears. Su Yang. Elder Lan growled his name in a low voice. I will remember this. Just as she was prepared to storm out of his room, an excruciating pain appeared in her buttocks, causing her to fall on her knees. Why now? She cursed inwardly. It was at this moment Su Yang opened his eyes, and Elder Lan's round rear was the first and only thing he could see. After struggling on the ground for half a minute, Elder Lan finally gave up. Su Yang, I accept your conditions. Just help me, please, she said in a crying voice, tears falling off the corners of her closed eyes. Su Yang sighed as he rolled his sleeves. Very well, stick your butt towards my way and don't move. Chapter 12. Overwhelmed by pleasure, Su Yang's fair hands approached Elder Lan's rear with a calm expression on his face, seemingly unaffected by the situation, as though he was used to it. A second later, he lifts her robes, revealing her snow-white buttocks, silky red undergarment, and her long, smooth legs. Her butt was round, perky and smooth-looking, like 2 pieces of beautiful pearl next to each other. Even in his previous life, Su Yang has not seen many maidens with buttocks as beautiful and flawless as Elder Lan's. He gently caressed it as though it was a fragile treasure. The moment Su Yang's finger touched the surface of Elder Lan's jade-like skin, her body trembled. He then pushed all 10 of his fingers deep into her soft butt cheeks, sending a shock of pleasure through her body. Ah, Tilda. Elder Lan unintentionally moaned from the sudden pleasure amidst her immense pain. She wasn't in the right mind to pay attention to what Su Yang was doing behind her, but whatever it was, she wanted more. Su Yang continued to massage her butt, and the way he massaged it made it look as though he was kneading bread, each movement made with flawless precision. Elder Lan's pain gradually subdued and pleasure quickly overwhelmed her. Ah, more. Ah! Her body began feeling lust for the first time, and she unconsciously pleaded for more. Her black eyes flickered like the stars in a night sky, and a dark spot appeared in the middle of her red undergarment between her legs, gradually growing larger and darker. Her bottom lip suddenly felt a tingling sensation, and her body began trembling even harder. Elder Land felt fear and nervousness. She knew that this pleasure would soon consume her body and soul, yet she didn't tell Su Yang to stop. Something is coming. She suddenly felt an urge to pee. It was at this moment Su Yang slid a finger underneath her underwear, touching the most sensitive part of her body, the clitoris. The moment his finger touched her little pink jewel, Elder Land felt as though her body was struck by lightning, temporarily shutting down her mind and body for an instant. And in that instant, the dam blocking the water within her body was released, causing a flow of sparkling water to gush out like a fountain. Aha! Elder Lan, for the first time in her life, has finally experienced an orgasm. Su Yang retrieved his hand that was soaking wet from Elder Lan's virgin juice from under her robe and casually dried it with his own robe. Since the yin within your body was unstable, the only other option was to have your body release them. Su Yang said to Elder Lan, who was laying on the cold floor, her body still twitching from the aftermath, and he continued, I will also give you a prescription later on. Be sure to take it every day or the pain will return before our next treatment. Haya haya haya. Elder Lan did not reply to him. She was too busy trying to breathe properly. The inside of her mind was chaotic. It was as though 1,000 beasts were rampaging within. Su Yang did not bother her and went to wash his hands. Afterward, he took out a pen and paper and began writing a prescription for her. By the time he was done, Elder Lan had only just calmed down mentally. She propelled herself off the floor and glared at Su Yang with killing intent, her face beet red like a tomato. Time passed extremely slowly at this moment. It felt as though time had stopped for Elder Lan. Never in her life would she have imagined that her body would be played around in such a fashion by a mere outer court disciple. Just thinking about the shameless expressions she made and how vulgar she acted during the treatment was enough for her to want to kill herself. Furthermore, the fact that she enjoyed it immensely only made her feel worse. Here's your prescription. Don't forget to take it. Su Yang handed a piece of paper to her. Seeing how Elder Lan sat there like a stone statue, Su Yang sighed. Don't think too much about it. It was just treatment for your illness. Just act as though nothing happened. Act as though nothing happened. Do you think I can do something like that? Elder Lan suddenly shouted, causing Su Yang to lift an eyebrow. My body is now dirty from your hands. All the efforts that I have spent into keeping it pure are now worthless. Not to mention you are only a mere outer court disciple and I am a sect elder. How are you going to take responsibility? Dirty. Su Yang suddenly frowned. How ungrateful, even after all the efforts that I had put into saving you from your misery. Do you have any idea how many women in this world would die to have their body touched by me? HMPH, get out, he coldly snorted, feeling enraged for the first time since his rebirth. Elder Lan's expression froze after seeing the cold look on Su Yang's usually calm face, and a feeling of fear appeared in her heart. I. Elder Lan suddenly bit her lips. She then forced herself to stand up, and despite having no strength remaining in her legs, she managed to walk herself out the door after stumbling and falling a few times on the way there. After Elder Lan's figure disappeared from his sight, Su Yang collapsed on the bed with an exhausted expression. Really? An ungrateful woman, he smiled bitterly before slowly falling asleep. Thank you for listening to the story on KevinAudio.com Chapter 13 Feeling. Ashamed it took all of Elder Lan's energy and effort to walk back to her living quarters. Her legs would give up every so often, and the tingling sensation around her bottom lips has yet to subdue, causing slight water to flow out with every step she took. When the disciples saw her, They believed that she was extremely drunk. When she finally arrived at her living quarters, she noticed the little girl dozing off by the door. Chi Yu, Elder Lan's mood became better at the sight of her cute face. "Sister Lan, you are back." Chi Yue finally noticed her approaching figure and quickly stood up. "How did it go? Were you able to meet with senior apprentice brother Su?" She mentioned the one name Elder Lan didn't want to hear at this moment. "I found him," she sighed. "Then was he able to help you?" Despite not wanting to answer her question, Elder Lan bit her lips and slowly nodded. "Then why are you walking like that?" "Oh," Chi Yue quickly realized how stupid her question was. How could she not recognize Elder Lan's sloppy movements when she herself had gone through the same ordeal? Elder Lan frowned when she noticed Chi Yue blushing. Why would she be blushing? Suddenly, Elder Lan recalled the night Chi Yue came to her house when she spoke of Su Yang. She remembered very clearly the way Chi Yue walked around with her tofu legs, almost as though she had experienced something that absorbed all the strength in her. "No, no way, did Su Yang also touch you?" Elder Lan covered her mouth with shock, not daring to believe her thoughts. Chi Yue misunderstood the meaning behind Elder Lan's question and nodded sheepishly. "That bastard Su Yang! Forget about me, how dare he touch someone as young Chi Yue? She is only 12. Elder Lan cursed at him inwardly. "I'll kill him. I will definitely kill that pervert," she growled in a low voice. Chi Yue looked at her with a shocked expression. "Sister Lan, and you Chi Yue, the sect forbids those under the age of 16 to indulge in any sexual practices no matter how minor that action may be. You think I will turn a blind eye to it just because of our relationship?" Chi Yue blinked a few times in quick succession, looking a bit dazed at Elder Lan's frowning face. "What does Sister Lan by that?" she asked in an innocent voice. "You are still acting ignorant now. You just said it yourself that Su Yang had touched you." "Ah," Chi Yue finally comprehended the situation and flustered. "You're wrong. Senior apprentice brother Su did not do anything of that sorts to me. He only sucked the poison out of my legs after loosening up my muscle." Elder Lan's expression froze at her words. "What? But senior apprentice brother Su is not a pervert. He only did what he had to in order to treat my legs," Chi Yue said in a slightly angry tone. Even if it was her beloved elder sister, she cannot stay calm when someone badmouths the one who saved her life. It was a first even for her to see Chi Yue get so emotional for someone she just met, and the image of Su Yang's cold expression appeared in her head, causing a stir within her heart. He only did he had to in order to save her. Elder Lan looked down at her body. There was no pain, only pleasure. If he wanted to, he could have taken advantage of me during my state of vulnerability, even taking my chastity, yet he didn't do such a thing. Elder Lan was sure that during the heat of the moment, she would not have refused Su Yang if he wanted to take things one, even 2 or 3 steps further. She began regretting the harsh words she said to him. Not to mention she was the one who approached him for help and not the other way around. I took the shame I had for myself upon him as anger and offended him. "Ah, I am really stupid." Elder Lan sighed deeply. She was ashamed of herself when she realized what had happened during the treatment, how she was acting like a dog in heat. The lustful expression on her face, the vulgar words that came out of her mouth, the way her body desired more, everything she acted upon during Su Yang's treatment had caused her to be ashamed of herself. "Sister Lan," Chi Yue looked at Elder Lan's disheartened face with a worried look. "You are right, Chi Yue. I apologize for speaking rudely about Su Yang. He did save your life after all. Not to mention my butt." She showed her a gentle smile. After staying with Chi Yue for a little longer, the two departed. When she returned to her room, Elder Lan undressed and went directly to clean herself. Inside the bath, she stared at her naked body, seemingly dazed. She was recalling the time she spent inside Su Yang's room, remembering the way he touched her body and the immense pleasure she felt between her legs during her discharge. Her fair hand suddenly approached her bottom lips, and she began caressing the little pink jewel inside the lips. Elder Lan wasn't sure why she was doing this, but her hands moved continuously, trying to replicate the heavenly sensation she felt before. However, no matter how much she rubbed or touched herself, the feeling was just vastly different from how she felt when her body was being taken care of by Su Yang. There was something fundamentally different from the way he touched her and the way she touched herself. It was as though her body was not satisfied with her own hands and only wanted Su Yang. Ha! Elder Lan left the bath sighing, feeling ashamed of her own actions. It was already midnight by the time Su Yang woke up. The first thing he did when opening his eyes was to cultivate. He sat cross-legged on his bed, and a profound aura surrounded him. His hands suddenly glowed a faint blue. He was cultivating the yin he collected from Elder Lan's holy water. Although the amount was pitiful, it was enough to benefit his cultivation base greatly. Virgins are really the best. Su Yang silently absorbed the yin in his hands, his cultivation base soaring with every second. The quality of yin or yang obtained from those who are pure and those who are not is like comparing heaven and earth, hence why pure maidens are valued far more in this world. Su Yang suddenly snapped his eyes and countless flickering lights glowed within. He had a breakthrough, reaching the 5th level of elementary spirit realm. As for the progress on his physique, it had barely moved. That was the difference between chi refiners and body refiners. Every 100 steps a chi refiner takes, a body refiner would have taken only 10. Su Yang looked at the moon through the windows, feeling melancholy. The sight of the moon caused the image of a peerless beauty, who was known as the goddess of the moon in his past life, to appear in his thoughts. And for the remainder of the night he stared at the moon, recalling the exciting experiences of his past life. Chapter 14. A group of beauties. Elder Lan woke up early in the morning. After dealing with the necessities, she went directly to Su Yang's living quarters. Elder Lan, Tang Hu greeted her at the door again. Su Yang, is he inside? Yes, Elder, Su Yang is still inside. I will go get him for you right this moment. Wait. I can get him myself. Tang Hu watched Elder Lan viciously knock on Su Yang's door with a worried face. To offend someone as highly respected as Elder Lan, Su Yang's life as a disciple in this sect is already considered over. Hm. Elder Lan, time sure passes by quickly. Is it already time for our next appointment? Su Yang walked out of his room with a beaming smile, and whatever Elder Lan had prepared in her mind disappeared like smoke the moment she saw his face. She then recalled the time she spent here yesterday, and her face flushed red. Elder Lan could feel her heart beating erratically, like war drums. This is the first time she's been so flustered at the sight of someone, let alone a man. Not to mention her image of Su Yang had changed dramatically overnight, and he seemed much more charming and handsome than yesterday. Even the core of her body trembled. It was as though her body could sense Su Yang's presence nearby, wishing to get closer. Elder Lan was speechless. Although she came here with a purpose, the moment she saw Su Yang, everything in her mind blanked as though it was consumed by an invisible black hole. Here, you left swiftly yesterday and forgot to bring this with you. Su Yang handed her the paper with her prescription on it. Elder Lan instinctively accepted the paper with stiff movements, her eyes still glued to Su Yang's face. Why? Why are you doing this? She suddenly mumbled. Despite all the harsh things I said to you, you're still willing to help me. Her words wiped the smile off Su Yang's face. He looked at her with a calm expression, his gaze flickering with a profound light. Because I am a man. Su Yang's simple sentence threw both Elder Lan and Tang Hu off their feet. What kind of answer was that? Because he is a man. I am a man of my words. You asked me for help and I gave you my word that I will help you. That's the only reason I need to help you. His words left Elder Lan speechless. Are you not satisfied with my answer? After a moment, Elder Lan sighed. No, that's more than enough. She turned around and walked towards the door. I will also keep my words and fulfill the conditions, she said to him before leaving with a bitter smile. Su Yang, what's your relationship with Elder Lan? Tang Hu asked after she left. Their interaction gave him many questions with little answers, and he was curious. Just a customer of mine, Su Yang said casually. See, customer. Tang Hu became even more puzzled. What kind of customer and for what service? However, he decided not to probe their relationship any further. He had a feeling that if he did, he would surely regret it. Su Yang left the house shortly after Elder Lan disappeared. There was only one place he would go so early in the morning, the training grounds. However, he brought with him a new sign, one that read, Heavenly Massage, experience 10 minutes of heaven at the low cost of 10 premium points. The sign caused many odd expressions to stare at him. Getting 10 premium points would require the completion of a low-rank mission that may take days to finish. Yet Su Yang wanted to charge someone that much for a mere massage that was obviously exaggerated. Su Yang, there's a limit to how shameless you can be. 10 premium points for some shitty massage. That's robbery in daylight. I wouldn't even let you touch me for free, let alone pay 10 premium points. The training grounds suddenly became lively with Su Yang's presence. Everybody there laughed at him and his sign, yet they were also secretly surprised. If they recalled it correctly, Su Yang's first sign stated that the first 3 would be free. Now that he's actually charging them, does this mean there were actually 3 idiots who were willing to trust him with their body? Su Yang stood there for the entire morning without a single customer. The training ground was quiet again, with the disciple bored of talking about Su Yang. However, the moment the sunset arrived, a group of 10 disciples appeared near the gate, seemingly looking for someone. Because everybody within that group was a beauty, they quickly caught the attention of the disciples training there. Why are the people from the medicine hall doing here? Is someone hurt? Some disciples there recognized their red and white robes. One of the beauties suddenly noticed Su Yang and his sign, alerting the rest of the group. Everybody there watched as the group approached Su Yang, their gaze filled with curiosity. Are you Su Yang? Asked the beauty leading the group. I am. Great. I have heard great praises about your massage service from our master. She advised us to come here and experience it for ourselves. I hope you do not mind the number of people I brought here today. Su Yang smiled and said, the more the merrier. However, before I accept you, there are 3 conditions you must accept. We are already aware of the conditions, but feel free to refresh our memories. Condition 1, the session will only last for 10 minutes. Condition 2, you must share your experience after the massage with 10 people. Condition 3, you are only allowed to come back 1 month after your last massage session. The beauty nodded. Our junior apprentice sister said the same, and we agree to your conditions. Then follow me. Su Yang packed the sign and left the training ground. The disciples there watched with disbelief in their eyes as Su Yang led the group of beauties from the medicine hall away from the training ground. Chapter 15. Senior sister spectating her junior sister. Su Yang, W. What is going on? Tang Hu's jaw dropped to the floor when Su Yang returned with a group of 10 beauties. How did he manage to gather so many beauties at once, even convincing them to follow him home? Since when did he become such a playboy? They are my customers, Su Yang said with a nonchalant expression. Customers, again. Tang Hu wondered if they are the same type of customer as Elder Lan. What on earth has Su Yang been doing for the past few days? After Su Yang finished with his preparations, he invited the girls into his room one at a time while the rest waited outside in the living room. When the doors to Su Yang's room closed, the girls waiting outside began talking. Master guaranteed us that he is trustworthy, but I don't feel comfortable being here, said one of the girls. Hey, you are Su Yang's roommate, right? Tell us about him. The girls looked at Tang Hu, who was nervously standing by the wall and observing them. Although we are roommates, we never had any real conversation, so even I don't know much about him. However, he always has this mysterious feeling surrounding him. I can never tell what he's thinking or comprehend his actions. A mysterious man, huh? Sounds kind of sexy, don't you girls think so too? Well, if only there weren't so many negative rumors about him. Senior apprentice sisters are from the medicine hall, correct? What are you all doing here with Su Yang? He called seniors apprentice sisters his customers. You don't know about his massage service. The girls looked at him oddly. Are they really roommates? They seem to know nothing about each other. Massage service. Tang Hu looked at them with wide eyes filled with disbelief. You are all here for a massage from Su Yang, they nodded, confirming his doubt. We had a bet with our master. She said that if we can walk out of here after receiving a massage from Su Yang without stumbling once, then she will give each of us a profound yin pill. Profound yin pill, the valuable pill that greatly enhances the yin in females. Tang Hu was shocked. Why would someone wager such an expensive resource? Not to mention 10 at once. Your master, Tang Hu recalled Su Yang calling Elder Lan his customer. Is it Elder Lan? They nodded. Although we do not know why master made such a bet with us, this bet will surely be a piece of cake to win. Heh, we all get a profound yin pill after a massage. Perhaps this is her way of rewarding us for our hard work. One profound yin pill will cost us 3,000 premium points at the White Pearl Treasury, yet we only need to pay 10 premium points to get our hands on one. This is too easy, the group of beauties laughed, sounding like a group of birds singing. Suddenly, the door to Su Yang's room opened and Su Yang walked out calmly. Oh, has it been 10 minutes already? Yes, who is next? Su Yang said to them calmly. What about senior apprentice sister Xuan? The girls asked about the girl who went inside first. She is having trouble moving, said Su Yang in a nonchalant tone, and he continued. And she asked me to allow her to stay inside for a little bit longer. The girls looked at him with confused faces. Why is she having trouble moving? Is she okay? One of them asked in a worried tone. You don't have to worry, she'll be fine. Her body is just a little bit sensitive after the massage. So, who's next? None of the girls there were able to see anything out of the ordinary from Su Yang's calm face, so they did not ask any more questions. A little later, the second girl walked into his room, and the first thing she noticed after entering was senior apprentice sister Xuan, who was breathing heavily as she was struggling to get off the bed, her face red like a tomato. Senior apprentice sister Xuan, are you okay? The girl quickly went to support her, but Xuan pushed her away and said, Don't touch me, you will only make this worse. Senior apprentice sister, I am fine, my body is just a little sensitive, said Xuan as she looked at Su Yang with flickering eyes, her face reddening even more. Su Yang smiled at her and he turned to the second girl. Come on the bed, we will begin right away. The girl looked at him and the wrinkled bed with hesitation in her eyes. She had a feeling that if she were to lay on that bed, then she may never live her life in the same light again. Junior apprentice sister, you, go ahead and lay on the bed, you won't regret it. Xuan said to her with a gentle smile that was also a malicious grin. She wanted her fellow apprentice sister to experience what she had just moments ago, because when more people share the same experience, her embarrassment would also lessen. Encouraged by her senior apprentice sister, whom she trusted greatly, Disciple Yu decided to throw away her hesitation and laid on the bed that still lingered with Xuan's body fragrance. Then, let us begin, Su Yang said to her. Seconds later, the room echoed with a pleasant-sounding moan that wouldn't end until 10 minutes later. Disciple Xuan, who was sitting by the corner trying to recover her strength, stared at Su Yang with wide eyes, seemingly mesmerized by his graceful movements and calm face. How could he be so calm in such a situation? He looked as though he was playing an instrument, the girl on his bed being the instrument. That was how he was also touching my body. Xuan's body heated up just from watching Su Yang massage her junior apprentice sister. As for disciple Yu, who was aware of her senior apprentice sister who was also in the same room as her, paid no attention to Xuan's presence and continued to moan crazily without any restraint. Did I also make similar shameful faces and let out such vulgar noises while being touched by him? Xuan covered her mouth from shock, and the more she watched her junior apprentice sister enjoy herself, the more her lower body trembled. Chapter 16. Touch me more, Daddy. 10 minutes passed by within the blink of an eye. Su Yang stopped his movements and walked away from the bed while Yu tried to return to earth from heaven. Her mind has yet to catch up to the present and was still feeling Su Yang's fingers touching her body. Xuan, who had her mouth covered for the entire duration, finally removed her hands from her mouth that was still wide open from shock. In her mind, she came to a realization that the wager Elder Lan made with them has suddenly turned into a bet that was impossible for them to win. However, between the profound yin pill and Su Yang's heavenly massage, it was a win-win situation for them, so she wasn't too dejected from losing out on the profound yin pill. As a matter of fact, she would even willingly trade a profound yin pill just to feel Su Yang's hands touching her body for 10 more minutes. A few minutes later, the door to Su Yang's room opened. "Who's next?" Su Yang asked calmly to the puzzled stares directed at him. "What happened to junior apprentice sister Yu? What about senior apprentice sister Xuan?" They questioned him with suspicion in their eyes. "Nothing happened to us." Xuan walked out of the room with her face still flushed red. "Senior apprentice sister Xuan. Junior apprentice sister, you cannot move properly at the moment and asked to stay inside for a bit longer," said Xuan, trying her best not to blush. Again, the girls looked at Su Yang and the room with a wary expression. "I will be next." One of the girls suddenly stood up and approached Su Yang, her face showing a determined expression. When Su Yang and the third girl disappeared into the room, Xuan fell to the floor in an exaggerated manner. "Senior apprentice sister Xuan." The girls cried out in shock and they all ran to assist her. After sitting down on a chair, Xuan said with a shy smile, "I am fine, my legs are still too sensitive to be walking around." Then she continued, "Do you all recall the bet Master made with us, that if we can walk out of this room without stumbling then she will give us a profound yin pill?" The girls nodded. "Forget about the bet and just enjoy yourselves." "What are you saying, senior apprentice sister Xuan?" "I mean, Master made that bet with us knowing that it would be impossible for her to lose." "What?" the girls exclaimed loudly. "How is that even possible? What happened in there? Was the massage that good?" Xuan smiled bitterly and said, "I experienced heaven inside and I almost didn't want to return." The jaws of everyone there dropped to the ground, especially Tang Hu. Inside the room, the new girl looked at disciple Yu, who was sitting by the corner and staring back at her with a dumbfounded expression. "Junior apprentice sister Yu, what are you doing there in the corner?" Yu remained silent, seemingly too embarrassed to answer her. The girl turned to look at Su Yang with narrowed eyes and asked, "What did you do to her?" "My job," he replied in a calm manner. "Senior apprentice sister Shang, Su Yang did nothing wrong, please believe him." Yu finally said in a low voice, and she continued, "My body is just a little bit sensitive from the massage, so I will be resting here for a moment." Shang frowned and said, "Why does it have to be in here? Why can't you rest outside?" Yu blushed at her question. "Because senior apprentice sister Xuan also did the same," she said in an even lower voice. "What are you?" "Sorry to interrupt you, but I have a line of customers waiting outside," said Su Yang. "If you do not mind, please lay on the bed so we can get started." Shang looked at him in silence for a moment and snorted, "HMPH, I shall see for myself what you have up your sleeves." She laid on the bed and waited for Su Yang to begin, her gaze staring at Yu, who seemed worried with an expression saying, "Do you really want to look at me during the treatment?" Moments later, Shang regretted looking at Yu the second Su Yang began his treatment. Her eyes rolled up, and a loud moan unintentionally escaped from her mouth. Ah, Tilda, when you witnessed Shang's vulgar face, her head exploded in red. She could not help but recall herself being in the same shoe just minutes ago. It was as though she was watching herself instead. This is what senior apprentice sister Xuan saw when watching me. She wanted to cry, but no tears came out. You wasn't sure how loud she was moaning during the treatment, but she figured that it must have been pretty loud since she didn't hold back. I cannot look at senior apprentice sister Xuan in the face ever again, or I will die from shame. More, touch me more, daddy. Yu's eyes popped out of its sockets when Shang addressed Su Yang as her daddy. Even Su Yang couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. The last time someone called him daddy, he was nearly kidnapped and imprisoned to be a sex slave for the girl. However, Shang didn't seem to be aware of what she just said and continued moaning, shocking Yu even further. Did I also say something that embarrassing? I don't remember. I can't remember anything. While panicking, Yu continued watching her senior apprentice sister Shang scream in pleasure, her body trembling at every moan, and the image of her senior apprentice sister Shang, whom she held with high regards and respected greatly, would only slowly shatter in her mind the longer she watched. However, despite all the embarrassment she was experiencing, you couldn't help but continue staring with unblinking eyes. It was as though she was mesmerized by the heavenly scene. I want to switch places. She sighed some moments later. Chapter 17. Horrifying, yet tempting. Shang stared at Su Yang with fierce eyes, her hands covering her body in a protective manner. The situation looked as though Su Yang had assaulted her both physically and mentally. What? Do you want me to acknowledge you as my daughter? Su Yang smiled, causing Shang's blood to boil from embarrassment. I will remember this, Shang mumbled in a low voice, her gaze staring daggers at Su Yang. I'm sure you will, Su Yang shrugged at her words. He has heard the same words too many times in his previous life. Yu wiped the drool from the corner of her lips and thought to herself. He managed to make all three of us experience heaven without touching any inappropriate spots. If he did, would we experience an even higher heaven? Yu suddenly desired to feel Su Yang's hands caressing her bottom lips, perhaps even exploring directly inside her pink world. Sometime later, Yu and Shang walked out of Su Yang's room, both looking exhausted. Senior apprentice sister Shang, junior apprentice sister Yu, are you okay? The girls outside went to assist them. Master, she had us all fooled. Getting that profound yin pill is simply impossible. Shang sighed, dumbfounding the girls. And she continued, I knew it sounded too good to be true for us to obtain profound yin pills so easily, but this is simply bullying. Everyone there except Xuan and Yu looked dazed, seemingly unable to comprehend her words. How could a mere massage seem so frightening? Next, Su Yang's calm voice caused the girls' hearts to skip a beat. None of them dared to step forth, afraid of the result. If there is nobody else, then wait, I am next. I don't believe that I will lose to someone like you. Junior apprentice sister Ming. The girls looked at their youngest with surprise. Very well, follow me. Su Yang and Ming disappeared into the room. 10 minutes later, the door finally opens. Junior apprentice sister Ming, the girls cried loudly, looking shocked when Ming crawled out from the room with tears in her eyes. Her body was so sensitive that even something as simple as standing was deemed impossible after one try. Anyone else? Su Yang glanced at the remaining girls, sending chills down their spines. Never in their dreams would these girls even imagine that they would one day encounter a situation this horrifying yet tempting at the same time. The girls no longer saw this situation as a bet but more of a challenge from Su Yang, who was saying with his smile, You think you can resist my techniques? Come, I dare you. I am next. Another girl walked forward and they entered the room. 10 minutes later, the girl comes out with messy hair and a reddened face. The hope in the girl's eyes dimmed with every defeat. Their chances of getting the profound yin pill was looking grimmer and more impossible. However, despite that, they all dared to challenge Su Yang. None of them were willing to lose face by admitting defeat to some kid who was years behind them in age and experience. But alas, the moment Su Yang executed his techniques, the girls all surrendered their bodies, even pleading for more. Soon, only one girl who has yet to experience the massage remained. Senior Apprentice Sister Zio, it is your turn. Junior Apprentice Sister Zio, you are the only one who hasn't. Disciple Zio looked at her fellow sisters with a horrified expression. But I already have a partner. I cannot allow another man to. Zio tried to excuse herself out of this one, but her sisters sneered. HMPH, we all have our own partners too. It's not like he's doing anything vulgar, it's just a normal massage. Which part of this is normal? Look at all of you laying on the floor. Look into the mirror and see the expression you are all making. Not even the roughest dual cultivation could possibly make all of you look this shameful. What happened to your elegance? Zio still refused. Just a glance at Su Yang standing by his room caused her to tremble. Standing there, Su Yang looked like the devil, and the entrance to the room was the door to hell, a place that will consume one's soul. I will not force anyone that does not want my service, Su Yang said. If that is all, then we are done here. The girls looked at Zio with pity in their gaze. She has no idea what she just missed out on and will surely regret her decision one day. Su Yang, disciple Yu suddenly called for him, her face showing signs of shyness. What is it? He turned to look at her. If you ever need help, you can come to me, Yu Yan, for advice, although I am only an outer court disciple. As someone from the medicine hall, I have many connections within the sect. So if you ever need something, you can come to me. How sly! The other girls looked at her with wide eyes. None of the sisters there could have imagined that the youngest amongst them would actually take the lead. Su Yang, my name is Xuan Jinglin. I will also be available if you need anything. You can find me in the medicine hall or even at my living quarters. I am Jia Bu. I can also. The girls began fighting each other for the chance to introduce themselves to Su Yang, dumbfounding Zio and Tang Hu, who has been standing there like a dumb chicken since the beginning, acting like a bunch of horny dogs. This is all because of Su Yang. Zio couldn't bear to watch her fellow apprentice sisters shatter their images anymore, so she turned and left the place. When Zio left, the others sighed. Although a bit exaggerated, they believe that their reactions are justified. The commotion quickly subdued, and when the girls prepared to leave, Su Yang reminded them, "Don't forget your words. Let alone 10 people, I shall spread your service to everyone I know." "Me too. I will see you next month." "Me too." Su Yang watched the girls depart with a gentle smile on his face. When they left, Tang Hu fell to the floor with a shocked face. He couldn't believe it. Since when did Su Yang become popular, even causing so many senior apprentice sisters to fall on their knees for him? Su Yang glanced at Tang Hu and chuckled. "Get used to it. There will be plenty more coming later." "Plenty more." Tang Hu rolled his eyes, nearly falling unconscious. He could already sense a storm gathering around this place. Chapter 18. Lingering fragrance. After the girls from the medicine hall left, Su Yang locked himself inside his room. He sat cross-legged on his bed, his eyes closed. He took a deep breath through his nose, enjoying the flowery fragrance emitting from the bed. The scent of those 9 girls still lingered, and it smelled like a flower bed with 9 different unique flowers. Besides the lingering fragrance, the bed also emitted faint yin qi. This yin qi came from those 9 girls who had discharged themselves during their climaxes. Su Yang used what little yin qi remained on the bed to cultivate himself. Although laughable when compared to Elder Land's virgin yin qi, it was still enough to benefit his cultivation base slightly. Meanwhile, Tang Hu opened the door to another visitor. Meng Jia. Tang Hu was greeted by his partner at the door. "What's wrong? You seem down, Mengjia said in a worried tone. I think you should stay away from this place for some time. What? Mengjia instantly paled. Did I do something wrong, something to upset you? The way Tang Hu worded his sentence made it seem like Meng Jia had done something to offend him, hence why he wanted her to stay away from him for now. No, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that this place will get chaotic soon. Tang Hu corrected himself the instant he realized the misunderstanding. Chaotic? How? What's happening? Meng Jia couldn't wrap her head around the situation. Su Yang. I don't know what he's trying to do, but whatever it is, he will get himself in situations I don't dare to imagine. Tang Hu recalled the bizarre situation this morning. If it continues to happen, then it will only be a matter of time before Su Yang offends someone he cannot afford to offend. Su Yang, where is he right now? He's inside his room, doing what? I have no idea. However, you need to stay away from this place, him. Tang Hu was anxious for Meng Jia, who might fall into Su Yang's hands if she were to experience his massage that caused those 9 girls to go crazy. In this sect, while disciples are not allowed to force another to participate in dual cultivation, there was no such rule that prevents one from stealing another disciple's partner. If it's Su Yang, Tang Hu believes that he could easily snatch girls away from people as easy as taking candy from a baby. Just thinking about the possibility of Su Yang stealing Meng Jia from his grasp made Tang Hu feel anxious. Whatever you are worried about, I will make it go away in bed. Come, let's cultivate, said Meng Jia as she pulled Tang Hu into his room, not giving him time to refuse. Su Yang stayed locked inside his room until the sunset arrived. He organized the bed and took a quick bath before heading back out to the training grounds to wait for more customers. Although he is still miles away from reaching 10,000 premium points for the pure Yang flower, Su Yang was confident that he will be able to obtain that much in the next few days. A few minutes later, Su Yang arrived at the training grounds. Upon his arrival, Su Yang noticed the large group of beauties standing around where he would normally set up his sign. There were at least 30 figures gathered there, and they all looked as though they were waiting for something or somebody. Furthermore, the moment Su Yang stepped foot inside the training ground, somebody shouted, "There's Su Yang!" When the group of girls heard the name Su Yang, they all turned to look at him with curiosity on their faces. He's that Su Yang, right? Does he really have such heaven-defying hand techniques? I don't know, but senior apprentice sister Xuan promised us that she will give each of us 200 premium points if his service does not satisfy us. 10 premium points, right? Senior apprentice sister Xuan will surely regret making that promise with us after we are done here. The girls approached Su Yang with gleeful expressions. Su Yang, we are all here to experience your techniques. If you cannot satisfy us, then you'd better apologize to senior apprentice sister Xuan for causing her to lose face for you. Su Yang smiled and said, if I am unable to satisfy even one of you girls, then I will gladly cut off my own hands and feed it to the pigs. Su Yang's confident voice and bold statement alongside his calm expression dumbfounded the girls. Heh! You seem very confident in your own abilities, but I hope you won't regret your words afterward. After the girls accepted his 3 conditions, Su Yang led them to his living quarters. Meanwhile, Tang Hu began freaking out when he noticed the massive group of girls following Su Yang from the windows. How did he gather so many customers in such a short time? He just left the house, too. Tang Hu began moving the furniture to the walls so it would not be too crowded inside the house. He also made sure to put chairs right outside Su Yang's room so they could be reached easily when his customers come out. Afterward, Tang Hu holed himself inside his room, afraid of the mayhem that may soon occur. Upon arriving at the front door, Su Yang said to the girls, because the place is small, I will have at most 10 people inside at once, and the rest will have to wait outside. Although unhappy, the girls did not complain. When Su Yang saw the changes made to the house, he nearly laughed. What a thoughtful guy, he thought. Now, who's first? Su Yang stood by the door to his room with a welcoming smile, his gaze at the beauties in the room. Chapter 19, The Only and True Path to Heaven. Su Yang opened the door, and his fifth customer staggered out of the room with a dazed expression, seemingly drunk from alcohol. When the girls outside saw her condition, they forcefully swallowed their saliva in shock. This is already the fifth one. Could his technique really be that good? Just looking at the expression on their faces when they come out makes my body heat up for some reason. Who's next? Hurry up. We don't have all day here. Some girls were getting impatient from waiting. Just seeing the blissful expression on those who received Su Yang's massage was enough to make their hearts itch, wishing that it would be their turn already. As for those who had already experienced Su Yang's techniques, some stayed inside the house sitting on the chairs prepared for them as they are unable to walk, while others were forced to stop and answer questions. How did it feel? It was otherworldly. It felt as though I was drifting along the stars in the starry sky. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was it? Scale, how could I possibly put a scale on it? It was so good I couldn't comprehend it. The place quickly became chaotic. Soon every person there was itching to experience Su Yang's technique. An hour quickly passed. Su Yang has treated more than 10 customers at this point. However, the line outside his house did not shorten. Instead, it has actually gotten longer than before. Su Yang lifted an eyebrow at the queue outside his house. There was at least another 30 people standing outside. Where did these girls come from? He was positive that he didn't bring them here from the training ground. The only answer he could think of was that these girls came here after learning of this place from his previous customers. I need to do some adjustments. Su Yang halted his service for a few minutes to put up a sign right outside his house. The sign hung above the door to his house, and it read, Su Yang's Massage, the only and true path to heaven, 10 premium points for service. After looking at the sign with satisfaction, Su Yang went back to his room to resume service. A 24-hour had passed since Su Yang hung the sign outside his house, yet the queue outside his house remained. Ever since the 9 sisters from the medicine hall experienced Su Yang's techniques, they began spreading his name like wildfire throughout the outer court. The people were suspicious at first, but when more and more people began spreading the same words, it became easier for others to believe in Su Yang's services. Some people approached Su Yang for his service out of curiosity, and others went for genuine pleasure. And sure enough, every single figure that went into Su Yang's room came out looking anew, as though they have been reborn. And for the next 2 days, Su Yang accepted all sorts of beauty into his room with a welcoming smile with very little rest. Graceful ladies with slim waists and round butts, enchanting women with mature bodies and large breasts, even immature girls that are yet considered adults, they all approached Su Yang to experience his techniques. At one point, his name reached even a few inner court disciples. Very quickly, the outside of Su Yang's house became lively with dozens of customers laughing and joking with each other as they queued up, each talking about their expectations. It looked like the gathering of flowers, making the place look more like a marketplace rather than someone's living quarter. By the 4th day, almost everybody within the outer court has heard of Su Yang and his divine techniques, whether they like it or not. From the animals to the sect elders, they would hear the disciples talk about their experiences with Su Yang whenever they go anywhere outside. Su Yang, that mentally ill outer court disciple, why is everyone and their mother talking about him as of lately? The unusual situation within the outer court caused the sect elders to pay more attention to Su Yang. However, the more they talked about him, the more puzzling the situation became. How could someone like Su Yang, who was infamous and disliked by many, become so popular within the sect almost out of nowhere. He has nearly all the female disciples talking about him. As for those who have yet to experience his techniques, they will sooner or later talk about him, too. My disciples also talked about him nonstop the other day. They were all giggling like little kids who had just returned from an amusement park. Your disciples, too. My only disciple has been staring at the clouds all day, while sighing his name ever since she went to his house 2 days ago. The partners of my disciples have been complaining to me about how they are unable to satisfy the girls with their techniques anymore. Quite a few male disciples have tried to cause trouble at Su Yang's place, but they all ended up getting forced away before they could even reach his doorstep. This is becoming quite problematic. What should we do? Stop his little business? I don't think that would be a good idea. There will definitely be a riot if his business is forced to shut down. Then what should we do? The elders felt infuriated at the situation, but they were truly at loss and did not know how to deal with it. Should we go to the matriarch for a solution? No, we don't need to bother the matriarch over something like this, not yet. We should wait a bit longer and see how this plays out. After some time, the elders finally came to a conclusion. Very well. We will sit back and only watch for now. However, if it gets out of hand, then we will have to intervene. Inside his room, Su Yang glanced at the jade slip in his hands. 5,514 premium points after 4 long days. At this rate, I will die from exhaustion before getting my hands on the pure yang pill. His arms prickled with pain from soreness, and his fingers were numb. Although he has worked for far longer without rest before, his current mortal body could not withstand the burden of him constantly utilizing his techniques. Su Yang looked outside the window, and there were at least 50 people still in line. After pondering for some time, he decided to go outside to announce a few changes. Due to the high demand, I have decided to change the price from 10 premium points to 100 premium points. Additionally, I will only accept a limit of 25 people per day starting tomorrow. The sudden changes caused many to frown. We have waited out here for over an hour and you want to suddenly change the price. That's unreasonable. Right. I don't even have 100 premium points. Even if I do, I wouldn't waste it on some massage, no matter how good it may feel. The line quickly shortened with people leaving left and right. Suddenly, someone asked, Su Yang, since you upped the price, will your service also increase? Su Yang calmly nodded and said, naturally. The time will be increased from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, and I will also guarantee you that your yin qi will see an increase in quality after the service. What? Our yin qi will see an increase in quality. How is that possible? The disciples did not believe him. After all, only valuable pills and precious treasures are capable of increasing one's yin or yang qi. If there really exists a technique in this world that could increase the yin or yang qi within one's body, then that person with the technique will definitely be treated like a god. Whether it is possible or not, you will know after my service, said Su Yang with a nonchalant expression, and he continued, I apologize for the inconveniences, but I am done for today. Come back tomorrow morning if you want my service. He retrieved the sign and closed the doors, leaving no room for discussion. Many people stood outside his house with a dumbfounded expression. Although they understood that he needed rest after working for so many days without closing once, they still felt anger in their hearts. This Su Yang is really shameless and arrogant. Just because he's good with his hands, he thinks that he can do whatever he wants, even being rude to his customers. HMPH. I have wasted my time here and I will not be coming back. Me too. Let's go. Many stomped away in anger and others sighed. Very quickly, Su Yang's house became desolate and silent. However, barely any changes occurred to Su Yang himself, and he went back inside to get some rest. As his days will only get tougher from this point, 4th chapter 20 Pure Yang Flower News of Su Yang, changing the price for his service from 10 premium points to 100 premium points, including how he will only see at most 25 customers per day, quickly spread. Many people were not happy about the changes, especially those who didn't get the chance to enjoy his service before when it was cheap and affordable, or those who decided to wait until later. However, as for those who have already experienced his technique, they would gladly pay 100 premium points to feel it again. Sadly, they were all forbidden to return for another month. As for the news about Su Yang being able to increase one's yin qi, it was quickly disregarded as something ridiculous and absurd, so nobody bothered to speak of it. The following day after the changes made to his service, the usually long queue outside Su Yang's living quarter was nowhere to be seen. Su Yang was well aware that business would slow down if he increased the price. However, he did not mind and continued to wait patiently. When the sunset arrived, a figure could be seen approaching Su Yang's living quarters. With beautiful black hair extended to her waist, she was tall and beautiful, and her alluring, well-developed figure left behind a trail of herbal fragrance. Su Yang opened the door and greeted the visitor with a smile. "Greetings, Elder Lan." The one who arrived was Elder Lan, who seemed to be in a bad mood. "After all the effort I put into spreading praises about your service, you had to just go and destroy it. What are you scheming now?" Although she was surprised about the changes, Elder Lan did not believe that Su Yang did it with the intention of destroying his hard-earned reputation. "If you are tired, then you could just limit the number of customers you see each day, but what need was there to increase the price by 10 folds? Don't tell me you are blinded by greed. I'll tell you this right now, but there aren't many outer court disciples who can afford to spend 100 premium points on 30 minutes of pleasure, no matter how good it may feel." Su Yang chucked at her words and said, "Elder Lan, if someone can increase the quality of your yin qi, how much would you be willing to pay that person?" "What?" Elder Lan didn't understand why he asked her that question, but the answer was obvious. One profound yin pill of the lowest quality already costs 3,000 premium points, yet I am willing to do what the profound yin pill does by increasing one's yin qi for as little as 100 premium points. Now if that isn't a bargain, then I don't know what is. "What? You can increase one's yin qi?" Elder Lan was shocked. How come she hadn't heard anything like that prior to coming here? Su Yang nodded, confirming her doubt. "Yin and yang qi works similar to one's body. If you can make it feel good, then it will obviously work better." Elder Lan found his reasoning to be a bit absurd, but she didn't say anything. "And how are you going to increase their yin qi quality? With my hands, of course." Elder Lan rubbed her temples, seemingly stressed. "Su Yang, you are a bigger idiot than I thought." "I'm an idiot?" Su Yang looked dumbfounded by her words. "If you can really increase the quality of someone's yin qi, do you realize the danger you are in? If it is known by the sect, then you can forget about seeing the sunlight ever again. But good for you, now you get to touch girls every day until you die." Elder Lan expected despair to appear in Su Yang's eyes, but to her surprise, he was actually smiling. "Why are you smiling? Does it look like I am joking with you? The fact that you are not trying to detain me at this moment is making me smile." Su Yang's words dumbfounded Elder Lan, who blushed slightly afterward. "Although it does sound very enticing to see you behind bars, I am not the type to treat my own disciples as though they are tools," said Elder Lan, her expression emitting an air of melancholy. Elder Lan's melancholy expression caused images to flash through Su Yang's head. "As I thought, they are really similar," he sighed inwardly. "Su Yang, I have been wondering, what is the purpose of all this? Why are you doing what you are doing?" Elder Lan has been pondering why Su Yang decided to reveal to the sect his heaven-defying hand techniques ever since the day she approached him. From her knowledge and what people say about him, Su Yang was a timid and spineless man who has mental issues and would never do something as bold and as eye-catching as opening up a massage parlor within the outer court. But no matter how hard or long she pondered, she just couldn't wrap her head around Su Yang's schemes. Why I am doing this? That's simple. Su Yang didn't even need to think twice before answering. 1. I need premium points to obtain resources to further my cultivation base. And 2. I wish to repair my tarnished reputation. What? Elder Land's expression froze for a moment as she tried to comprehend his words. You are doing all this just for some premium points. What are you trying to buy that requires this much resource? The pure Yang flower, Su Yang told her without hiding anything, as there wasn't any need to hide anything. The pure Yang flower. Why do you need something like that? Even if you manage to obtain one, how will you use it? Your cultivation base is far too inferior to even think about using it to increase your Yang Qi. Elder Land didn't expect Su Yang to be aiming for something as powerful and chaotic as the pure Yang flower, also known as the red devil flower. Forget about an expert at the true spirit realm such as Elder Land herself. Even Earth spirit realm experts would have trouble consuming the pure Yang flower without putting themselves in immediate danger, even directly exploding to death if handled improperly. Naturally, I have my own ways to deal with the pure Yang flower. However, that requires me to obtain it first. Elder Land narrowed her eyes at him. He has his own ways to deal with the pure Yang flower. Just how many more secrets does this guy have? HMPH. If you are going to commit suicide, then at least wait until I am fully healed. Elder Land coldly snorted. Anyway, I will be back in 2 days for the treatment. Su Yang smiled calmly and said to her as she walked away, I will increase the intensity for our next meeting, so until then, prepare yourself. Elder Land nearly stumbled upon hearing Su Yang's tease. Memories she wanted to forget resurfaced, and her face reddened. Her steps hastened, and her figure quickly disappeared from Su Yang's sight. Chapter 21. And you call yourselves a man. After Elder Land left, Su Yang went back inside his room to cultivate. However, it wasn't long before a group of people approached his house with irritated expressions on their faces, clearly here to cause trouble. Su Yang, get your ass out here right this instant. You have been hiding inside that house like a turtle in his shell while being protected by girls for the past few days. But now that you've stabbed yourself in the foot, who will stop us from approaching you? Su Yang, I will fucking kill you for touching my girl. Ever since Su Yang opened up his massage parlor, he has seen more than 500 girls. However, it was obvious that the majority of these girls, if not all already, has a partner within the sect. While Su Yang did not touch them vulgarly in any way, the way the girls acted afterward raised many suspicions within their partner's heart. And despite the girls reassuring their partners many times that Su Yang only gave them a normal massage, who in their right mind would believe that a mere massage could make them act like dogs in heat? A few moments later, the door opened, and Su Yang calmly walked outside with a nonchalant expression. He glanced at the dozen angry men standing before him like a group of angry protesters and said, I apologize, but I do not touch men. His words further increased the crowd's anger. Who the fuck said that we are here to enjoy your service? How dare you touch my girl? Because of you, she has been refusing to cultivate with me as of lately. Su Yang, what did you do to my Zaire? After meeting you, she dared to tell me that I am not enough to satisfy her. Hearing the crowd's complaints, Su Yang couldn't help but chuckle. So you all came here to blame another man for your inability to satisfy your own girl, and you call yourselves a man. How laughable. What did you say? You are courting death, Su Yang. Su Yang shrugged at their anger and said, It is normal for male disciples to cultivate with more than one female disciple at a time, and vice versa, so why are you all so upset that they are seeing another man besides yourself? The fact that you cannot satisfy your partners means that you are no longer useful to them. No matter how talented you are or how vigorous your yang qi is, if your partner does not find pleasure in cultivating with you, then you are worthless. Su Yang's harsh words struck pain into the heart of everybody there. It felt to them as though their heart was pierced by a sharp sword. While it was normal for disciples to have more than one cultivating partner at a time, as it is more convenient and efficient than having just one, nobody there wanted to admit that Su Yang, who was known for being useless and never considered a threat to anyone, was better at pleasing their partners than them. In a sect where dual cultivation is the norm, losing your woman to another man is far worse than death, even more so if the girl left because the other man was doing a better job at pleasing them. Furthermore, admitting defeat meant that you are accepting the fact that you are inferior to another man, a man's worst nightmare. Su Yang, I want a death match. Me too. The crowd was so irritated and speechless that they began talking about fighting a death match, as that was the only thing they could think of that would lessen the shame and embarrassment that have faced today. HMPH. Besides raw strength, what else can you all say with confidence that you are superior when in front of me? Su Yang coldly snorted and continued. A bunch of kids that cannot even satisfy their own woman dares to approach my doorstep and bark like dogs. What a bunch of fools. When it comes to dealing with women, Su Yang would turn into a kind prince no matter the situation. However, when he has to deal with men, annoying ones at that, he would turn into the devil and consume their confidence as a man and force them to their knees. Even in his previous life, Su Yang was the bane of all men, an existence that would force the males into experiencing anxiety, as they fear that Su Yang would snatch their women with a mere glance. You do not dare to fight me. And you call yourself a man. If your techniques do not work in the battlefield, then you are just as worthless. Su Yang smiled at their words and said, 100 premium points and I will enter the stage for a death match. What? You want us to pay you to fight? How shameless. Su Yang shrugged. I am a busy man. If you want to waste my time, then you need to pay up, just like your partners did when they approached me for pleasure instead of you. He said with a grin, causing the crowd to explode in anger. Su Yang, I will fucking kill you today. 100 premium points it is. Fight me to death right now. Fuck, I will pay you 150 premium points to fight me first. 200. Su Yang accepted the highest offer of 250 premium points with a smile and nodded. Very well. Then let us make a request to the sect and schedule our. Right now. I want to fight right now. Su Yang shook his head and said, I have already been warned once by a sect elder. Before we step onto the stage, we must get permission from the sect. Until then, our death match will have to wait. What? But you have already accepted my payment. This and that are two different things. Su Yang. Su Yang only smiled with a calm expression at the raging scene. Because the sect forbids any fighting amongst disciples unless officially approved by the sect, he wasn't worried that they might attack him out of nowhere. However, even if they did, he was confident in his own abilities. As someone with countless same experience in his previous life, Su Yang was not dumb enough to offend others without having absolute confidence in his victory. With his current abilities and resources, he was confident that he could stay safe even if every outer court disciple within the sect knocked on his door. Chapter 22 Deathmatch inside the Morning Wood Pagoda, where most of the sect's administration are dealt with. Su Yang and a group of outer court disciples stood in front of an old man, who was known as Elder Zhou, one of the many elders within the outer court that deals with disputes between disciples. Let me get this straight. You, outer court disciple Su Yang, would like to have a death match with outer court disciple Dai Zheng. The last time I checked, you are a mere elementary realm at the 3rd level, and you agreed to fight someone at the 5th level of the elementary realm. Are you stupid or are you crazy? Elder Joe looked at Su Yang with an odd expression. In this world, unless one is a cultivation genius or happen to have a powerful weapon, they would never be able to beat another with a higher cultivation base, let alone 2 whole levels. And in Elder Joe's eyes, Su Yang was only a mere outer court disciple with some talent in his hand techniques, definitely not a cultivation genius. You are neither a genius nor should you have any weapon powerful enough to suppress someone 2 levels above you, yet you still dare to fight him. Are you courting death? Elder Joe, this is his choice, not mine. I did not force him to fight me. It was something he accepted with a smile on his face. Dai Zheng, the one who had the highest bid and the one who will be fighting Su Yang first, was worried that Su Yang may cower away from fighting him at this rate. Su Yang remained calm despite Elder Joe's harsh words, and he said with a smile, Elder Joe is right. I am neither a cultivation genius nor do I have any powerful weapon. However, as a man, would you back out from a fight with your pride on the line just because you are facing someone stronger than yourself? His words caused Elder Joe to lift his brows, and to everybody's surprise he answered, No, I would not. Right, then allow me to fight him. Elder Joe turned silent to ponder for a moment, and he said a few seconds later, This is a death match with your life at risk, not some spar where you get away with only minor injuries. Once you step onto that stage, neither of you are allowed to leave until only one remains in this world. Without needing to think, Su Yang nodded. While we are at it, we might as well schedule everyone here a death match with me, he said nonchalantly, dumbfounding everybody there. What did you just say? You want a death match with everyone here? Elder Joe looked at the dozen outer court disciples with a bewildered expression. That's why they followed, right? Su Yang looked at the dazed crowd with a smile. Su Yang. How arrogant of you to think that you will get the chance to fight another person before our death match even started. Are you saying that you are absolutely confident in your victory? Dai Zheng exploded into a rage after hearing Su Yang's words, feeling as though he had his face stomped by Su Yang without mercy. Su Yang glanced at his red face that was bulging with veins and said with a surprised look, Why else would I fight you? To die? Are you stupid? Su Yang. Just as Dai Zheng was a second away from attacking Su Yang out of anger, Elder Joe coughed once, instantly forcing Dai Zheng to halt his steps. Where do you think you are, disciple Dai Zheng? Elder Joe's narrowed gaze caused Dai Zheng to freeze, seemingly petrified by his dangerous gaze. This disciple apologizes to Elder Joe for overstepping his boundaries. Dai Zheng quickly apologized with a deep bow. Elder Joe sighed and said, Since the two of you want to fight so badly, I shall accept your wish and personally oversee this deathmatch myself. Dai Zheng showed a beaming smile and bowed again. Thank you, Elder Joe, for giving this disciple a chance to repay his debts. Su Yang snorted coldly at how Dai Zheng truly believes that he would lose to him. He originally didn't plan to dirty his hands with blood so soon after his reincarnation, especially when he still hasn't obtained the pure Yang flower. However, Su Yang knew very well that if he ignored these people today that they will surely come to bother him again in the future, hence why he decided to clean up the trash early so he wouldn't have to worry about it later. When do you want this deathmatch to take place? Elder Joe asked. As soon as possible, Dai Zheng said as he stared at Su Yang with a menacing look. Then how about right now? I happen to be free until right now. This disciple will greatly appreciate that. Disciple Su Yang. Elder Joe looked at him for confirmation. Su Yang nodded and said, I have no problem doing it now. Very well, then let us head to the stage. Elder Joe began walking first and led the way. Hey look, it's an official death match. What? Who's fighting? The disciples that happened to be around the arena quickly approached the stage when they noticed Su Yang and Dai Zheng climbing the steps. Elder Joe is overseeing this death match, so it really is official. That's Dai Zheng. Who is he fighting? That's Su Yang. Su Yang is having another death match just a week after his last one. The disciples were clearly excited to witness this fight, especially after hearing rumors of Su Yang defeating Yang Ming, who was at the 6th level of elementary realm. "Are the two of you ready?" Elder Zhou asked the two on the stage. "Ready." Dai Zheng tightly held the sword in his grasp, his breathing patterns change. Su Yang played around with the steel sword in his hands. It was a borrowed weapon just for this fight. "Before we start, I'd like to tell you a love story between a renowned general and a rogue cultivator," he said in a nonchalant manner, dumbfounding everybody there. "A love story between a general and a rogue cultivator. What the hell is going on? Since when did this deathmatch become a place for storytelling? What the fuck are you talking about? Hurry up and fight me," Dai Zheng said in an irritated and impatient tone, his teething itching just to see Su Yang's blood. However, Su Yang ignored him and continued to speak with a calm expression on his face. During the chaotic era, when wars are considered a common sight, there existed a peerlessly beautiful woman who happened to be a general for some powerful army. Her beauty was said to be devastating enough to destroy continents, and her talent with the sword unrivaled. Chapter 23, Sword in 10. Her beauty was said to be devastating enough to destroy continents, and her talent with the sword unrivaled. Many generals, kings, even emperors tried to court her, but alas, none of them were successful, as she was only looking for someone who was stronger than herself, which was nearly impossible during that era. Su Yang's calm voice and perfectly paced storytelling quickly made the place silent. Then there was this young rogue cultivator who fell in love with her. However, this young man was from a common background and could be regarded as an ant in the eyes of these kings and emperors. He was someone who wasn't meant for her, not even in 10 lifetimes. However, despite knowing that he would never be able to stand next to her, the young man never gave up and earnestly cultivated both his body and sword techniques, wishing that it could help him close their never-ending distance. Su Yang stopped the story at this point and glanced at Dai Zheng with a calm, yet overbearing gaze. "What do you think happened to that young man?" he asked him. "A fool chasing an impossible dream, what else besides the obvious would happen?" Dai Zheng sneered. Su Yang smiled at his answer and he casually lifted the sword in his hands. Suddenly, Elder Zhou's eyes snapped open, his gaze filled with shock and disbelief. "What's that glow surrounding his sword? I have never seen anything like that before." The disciples were puzzled by the visible aura that suddenly appeared around the steel sword in Su Yang's grasp, giving it an overbearing pressure and seemingly twisting the space that surrounded it. "Impossible! That looks like sword intent." Elder Zhou recognized the aura surrounding the sword. However, his knowledge only further confused him, even shocking him to the core. Sword intent is the essence of a sword. It is something that only appears when the user has complete control and comprehension over the sword, in other words, complete mastery. These users are widely known as swordmasters, and they are highly respected figures around the world. How could it possibly be sword intent? He's just 16 years old. Not even experts at the Earth Spirit realm would be able to emit such a powerful sword intent. Elder Zhou didn't dare to believe that a 16-year-old idiot like Su Yang could become a swordmaster, despite the clear sword intent. So he forced himself to believe that Su Yang had prepared some cheap tricks in order to make it seem like sword intent. Su Yang casually swung his sword, and a tyrannical pressure swept the place, sending chills down the spine of everyone there, Elder Zhou included. Sword intent relies on one's experience and mastery with swords. It does not matter if I am a mortal or a saint, as long as I understand the sword, I will be able to use sword intent. Su Yang recalled the countless hours he had spent trying to master the sword in his previous life. What is your partner's name?" Su Yang suddenly asked Dai Zheng, who seemed to be frozen solid ever since the domineering sword intent appeared. "Cheng Yu," Dai Zheng unconsciously replied. Su Yang nodded and said in a nonchalant tone, "Don't worry, I will be sure to take care of your girl after your death so she wouldn't be lonely without your presence. Elder Zhou, we can begin." Dai Zheng directly coughed up a mouthful of blood after hearing Su Yang's vicious words. To hear Su Yang say such words after all that has happened, Dai Zheng was already on the verge of death from sheer anger before the fight even began. "I will fucking kill you, Su Yang." Dai Zheng threw away his fighting stance and charged at Su Yang like a madman with red eyes. He was so angry that it made him blind and unable to see the blade slashing down at his direction. Su Yang sighed inwardly. "I hope this will be the first and last time I take a life in this place." While Su Yang wasn't the type to kill people over small things, he needed to set an example for the others so it wouldn't happen again. In his previous life, he has encountered many situations where he showed mercy only to have them bite back twice as hard later on. "Wait!" Elder Zhou hastily called out, but alas, it was too late. The tip of the sword in Su Yang's grasp gently touched the ground, and a beautiful arc of light appeared, cleanly cutting Dai Zheng in half from top to bottom. Shocked gasping resounded as organs fell. Blood splattered all over the arena and covered Su Yang, and everybody stared at the horrifying scene with wide eyes and dropped jaws, looking as though they were watching a scene from hell. Nobody there, Elder Zhou included, have seen such a merciless strike occur on this stage before, not even in the cruelest death matches. Su Yang turned around to face the shocked audience with a calm expression, and he said coldly, "Knock on my door if you want. I will play with you, but be prepared to face the consequences." The overbearing and domineering pressure Su Yang was emitting caused many there to fall on their rear. He looked like a general who has fought many wars before, someone with an unfathomable presence. As for the story, that young man not only conquered the general's heart with his sword techniques, he also continued to achieve many impossible feats that none of these kings and emperors could have imagined possible for themselves, let alone from someone who they regarded as a mere ant. Su Yang approached Elder Zhou, who stood there with a dazed face, and returned the bloody steel sword to him. "A decent sword," he said to him before calmly walking off the stage. Chapter 24, his first love after the death match between Su Yang and Dai Zheng that ended immediately after it started. Su Yang's name quickly became the center of attention once again. Those who happened to witness Su Yang's display of dominance began spreading words of the event like wildfire. They portrayed Su Yang as though he was a devil from hell who could kill without batting an eyelid. They also mentioned the cruel scene of Dai Zheng splitting into two pieces, causing many who heard it to nearly vomit from disgust and shock. However, what scared these disciples the most was not Su Yang's cruelty that allowed him to kill with ease, but his sharp and harsh words that could easily kill anyone weak-hearted, especially when they learned of Su Yang's last words to Dai Zheng before slaying him. They all had a feeling that Su Yang was not talking only to Dai Zheng, but to everybody that dared to think of causing trouble for him. "You dare knock on my door for trouble. Then I will take your girl before and after your death as compensation." These words that could very possibly haunt them even after their deaths resounded, sounding like Su Yang's cold voice in the head of those who were there to witness his death match, causing them to tremble in fear even in their dreams. Very quickly, the name Su Yang became something to be feared by the outer court disciples. As for those who went to challenge Su Yang with Dai Zheng, they all locked themselves inside their homes and refused to come out, afraid that Su Yang might look for them for revenge. Inside the Morning Wood Pagoda, a group of sect elders gathered around the meeting table and discussed the death match between Su Yang and Dai Zheng with serious expressions. By the time Elder Zhou finished recalling the events that occurred during the death match, Every sect elder there showed a shocked expression, seemingly in disbelief at what they just heard. Sword intent. Are you absolutely certain about this, Elder Joe? I know it may sound like I am cracking a crazy joke, but I can promise you that I am absolutely serious in this matter. I also doubted it at first. Who wouldn't doubt their eyes if they saw a 16-year-old using sword intent? If I never saw it with my own eyes, then I wouldn't believe it even if you told me while beating me to death. Elder Joe reassured them his seriousness. A 16-year-old swordmaster. How frightening would that be if it were true? However, despite Elder Joe's clear voice, the others still doubted Su Yang's ability to use sword intent, as it was something unimaginable for them. It was extremely hard for them to believe it even if such a story came out of the matriarch's mouth, especially since there are currently less than 10 swordmasters still alive in this world, all who are profound and renowned experts with more than 100 years of experience under their belt. Elder Joe knew that his story would be hard to believe and had already prepared himself prior to the meeting, so he wasn't that bothered by their doubt. Whatever, I give up. It doesn't matter if you believe me not at this point. When you see it for yourselves, then you will know the truth. Elder Joe left the room while sighing, leaving the other sect elders dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Su Yang directly went home to clean the dried blood on his body, his calm expression looking as though the death match never happened. Afterward, he laid on the bed and closed his eyes, and the scene of the moment when he first embraced the beautiful general appeared in his head. The feeling of her smooth yet sturdy skin, her warm body, the lingering smell of the battlefield in her hair, all of that resurfaced at once in Su Yang's head, feeling as though it happened just yesterday. He stayed like that for many hours, seemingly asleep, but he was actually wide awake, thinking about the precious time he had spent with his first love in his previous life, who was also the one who made him into a cultivator. But alas, despite winning that general's heart, by the time he reached to that point, she was already past her prime age for growth and had long met her limit as a cultivator, and as a mortal. However, Su Yang himself continued to grow stronger, even breaking his mortal shackles in the near future, becoming an immortal with a profound longevity that the mortals desired since the ancient times. And because of his growth and ever-increasing cultivation, Su Yang looked the same as the day he met the general, even after many years, whilst the general became an old lady, who died from natural cause a few years later. I fell in love with you when I was a mere kid, about the same age as currently, perhaps even younger, but you were already an adult. By the time I obtained enough strength to stand beside you, you had already existed for more than 50 years. Yet you still looked as beautiful as when I saw your brilliance for the first time many years ago, maybe even brighter. My only regret during that era was my powerlessness, my inability to support your cultivation base while I selfishly grew stronger by myself. Su Yang recalled the moment when he stood in front of her grave as a young man who looked no different than the day when he first held her hands. After your death was when I truly realized the difference between immortals and mortals, and I became a coward who feared that he might one day fall in love with another mortal and experience the same grief as he did with you. So I left the mortal world, only returning thousands of years later for a short period of time. Su Yang suddenly opened his eyes, and he showed a bitter smile to the plain, boring ceiling. I am once again in the mortal world, and there is this sect elder who has the same stubborn demeanor as you. Is this fate? Or is this a joke the heavens created just to mess with me? He left the bed and walked to the windows where he noticed a young lady approaching his doorstep. This young lady wore a different kind of robe than the ones normally worn by outer court disciples. Instead of the plain white robes that all outer court disciples wore, the color of this young lady's robe was green. It even has a different air to it, seemingly with a more profound and noble feeling to it. An inner court disciple. This is Su Yang's first time seeing an inner court disciple, and with a single glance, he could tell the vast difference between outer court disciples and inner court disciples. Interesting. He mumbled to himself as he prepared to greet her at the door. Chapter 25. Inner court disciple. The disciples within the profound Blossom sect were separated into three core groups: the outer court disciples, inner court disciples, and the core disciples. Anybody could join the sect as an outer court disciple, as long as they fulfilled the minimum requirements set by the sect and passed the entrance exam. Once an outer court disciple, they will use whatever resource they have at their disposal to grow stronger. After they reach the point where they satisfy the conditions to qualify as an inner court disciple, they will participate in a series of tests given to them by the sect. If they manage to pass, then they will become inner court disciples with privileges to study stronger cultivation techniques and acquire valuable resources that outer court disciples could only dream to obtain, whilst their status with the sect also increase. And unlike outer court disciples that are considered expendable resources, inner court disciples are all viewed as talented individuals that are worth investing with the sect's resources. So they all get priority when it comes to guidance and sharing resources within the sect. Then there are core disciples, the true pillars of the sect with status even higher than most sect elders. Anyone who has the ability to become a core disciple, no matter which sect they belong, are all geniuses and prodigies, monsters that cannot be measured with common senses and live in a world of their own. When the young lady in green robes approached Su Yang's living quarter, her presence attracted the gazes of all the nearby outer court disciples. "Hey, look, that's an inner court disciple. Greetings, senior." Although the disciples did not know her name, they still looked at her with admiration and respect. To these outer court disciples, being an inner court disciple meant status and power, idols each and every single one of them were striving to become. And very rarely did inner court disciples leave their court, hence why these disciples were surprised and excited to see one appear here. The young lady noticed the attention, and she waved back at them with a friendly smile. The disciples could feel their hearts throbbing like drums after seeing her elegant smile, some even screaming from sheer excitement. "I'd like to ask, does a disciple by the name Su Yang live here by any chance?" asked the young lady. The disciples nodded vigorously, some even pointing directly to Su Yang's door. "He does, right there." "Thank you," said the young lady before approaching Su Yang's place. She knocked on the door the moment she arrived at the doorstep, and Su Yang came out a few seconds later. "How may I help you?" Su Yang asked her with an indifferent expression, looking as though he was not surprised about her unexpected visit. The young lady did not mind his manners and continued to smile. "Are you Su Yang?" she asked. "I am indeed called Su Yang." The young lady looked at him with narrowed eyes as though she was inspecting him. "I have heard many things about you, Su Yang, from your profound techniques to your ruthless character. I wonder if you are really as good as they praise." Su Yang remained calm despite her obvious provoking, and before he could open his mouth, the young lady continued, "Of course, I believe it. If you weren't as good as they say you are, then there wouldn't be so many people talking about it, now would there? Su Yang, I'd like to experience it, your techniques," she said without beating around the bush. "It would be my pleasure to serve a lady as beautiful as you," Su Yang said with a friendly smile. "It will be 100 premium points." However, before Su Yang could continue, the young lady sighed loudly. "Aya, I nearly forgot. I have recently spent all of my premium points on a profound yin pill, so I am currently low on premium points. Su Yang, if you don't mind, would you allow me to experience your profound techniques free of charge this time? I, inner court disciple Li Xiaomo, will owe you a favor." Su Yang showed a smile once he realized the type of game this Li Xiaomo was playing at. I apologize, but I do not work for free. If you are low on premium points at this moment, then you can always come back later when you have enough. Although Su Yang refused to serve her for free with a gentle and respectful tone, Li Xiaomo saw it as a slap to her beautiful face. How could he, a mere outer court disciple, refuse to serve her, an inner court disciple? Does he not the consequences for offending an inner court disciple? Unlike the outer court, offending a disciple in the inner court meant offending all of them. Is this how you treat a senior? Do you have any idea how much effort it took me to walk myself to this trash-filled court? Or is a favor from an inner court disciple such as myself not worth your effort? Li Xiaomo said with a disgusted frown, her demeanor taking a sudden 180. One word from my mouth and the entire inner court will become your enemy. Once I turn around from this place, you can forget about living a peaceful life after today. What will it be, Su Yang? Su Yang turned silent, seemingly speechless. Li Xiaomo saw his silence as fear and grinned. Although your name may scare the outer court disciples, you are nothing but an ant in my eyes. If you serve me like a dog from now on, then I will turn a blind eye your rude behavior just now. Who knows, if you manage to satisfy me with your service, then I may treat you less of a worthless dog and more as a slave. Su Yang closed his eyes and sighed. When he opened his eyes, a profound and vicious light flickered deep within. Very well, follow me. The grin on Li Xiaomo's face widened, who was feeling quite proud of herself after seeing Su Yang surrender. Good dog, she mumbled as she followed Su Yang, unaware of the change in atmosphere the moment she stepped inside his house.